4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with my buddy Dave Taylor from First Mark Insurance. You know, Dave, I love sport. You love sport. And I love sitting with coaches and hearing their game plan each and every week. What are the keys to a First Mark Insurance game plan?
It's a great question, Brock. I think there's really three keys to a great game plan with us. Number one is we want to make sure that our clients have the correct coverage for their unique specific needs. So that's number one. Do you have the right coverage? Number two, once we have the right coverage, are we getting that coverage at the most competitive price possible? And then last and not least would be, once we have the right coverage at the most competitive price, are we providing world-class service to those customers so that when they need it, they have someone there that's got their back?
Those are the three keys to a First Mark Challenge victory. And man, am I so glad Molly and I took the challenge. We are one of so many through a decade plus of being a First Mark Challenge victory. You can too. Just simply go to firstmarkinsurance.com. Firstmarkinsurance.com.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma.
Give me a freaking auto!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
Brock Ewart is my hero.
Jay Buhner just punched me in the kidney.
We're going to accuse you of murder.
Doesn't really work that way, Sherm. This is a show that has my name on it.
It kind of does, though.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Ewart and Mike Salk.
All right, good morning, everybody. Hello, it's the Brock and Salk Show, Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com, Seattle Sports app, and everything else, everywhere else you find us, all the podcast platforms. Thank you for doing so. We appreciate it. Great to be with all of you this morning. Phenomenal morning. It is snowing like a son of a gun out there. Wow. Man, that was unexpected. What a weird storm.
Yeah, I thought we were supposed to get maybe like a couple hours of snow last night, but it's really...
There was legit snow, and then there's like a wet muck underneath it. So if you get up listening to this show, by the way, love you for it. Thank you. I still think that's like, of all the things, like I understand. I've woken up to clock radios in the past, whether it was sports radio or music radio or whatever. And like, it's, when you're a listener, you hear the voice and you're like, okay, time to get up. But on the other side of it, it still sort of blows my mind that there's people for whom, like, you wake up with me or us in your head, and that's still just like kind of blows me away. And like, it's cool, but just kind of a trippy effect. Anyway, if you are just getting up, leave yourself a little extra time, because car had at least 2 inches of like wet, heavy snow on it, and the roads are slippery and messy, and people are driving 15 miles an hour, as Maura said, just to make sure they get stuck. I don't know, but it was legit slippery out there. I went with
it's still coming down.
I got a new shirt here, Maura. This is a...
It has the Salk stripe, I noticed.
It does have some striping along the top, obviously a little bit of horizontal striping at the top, but I thought this was sort of a winter wear. It's got kind of a ski lodge après effect. What do you think?
That's accurate.
Yeah. All right, so I got to drive today. I got to drive to Winthrop. We haven't had snow in freaking forever. I got to drive to Winthrop, so I got to go over at least one, if not two passes, depending on how I go. And the weirdest thing about this storm is that it looks like it's going to be worse on the coast, like here, not the coast, but here, like on the west side, than even in the mountains, which is just kind of bizarre. So, yeah, it's crazy. We're seeing people saying, hey, I'm in Kent and Puyallup. There's not a drop of rain or snow. That's nuts, man. Like, we're all living in the same region. How is it that, like, honestly, it is a ton here. I guess it's sort of like the windstorm, right, over the fall that blew out power on the east side, and everyone in Seattle was like, what? I don't know. There was a little wind, but what? Meanwhile, Lyle's over there on the east side, like, my house has been devastated. I got no power for a week. Like, what weird microclimates we have in this city. It is a strange thing. Or you look like you wanted to say something.
No, it's really strange. I mean, I'm just having flashbacks to that power outage now. It was miserable. awful.
Well, anyway, hopefully this is not as bad as that. Yeah, somebody just texted in microclimates. That's right. We've got microclimates here. I am going over to, so I will apologize. I'm going to be out tomorrow. I know everybody likes to give me all the grief when I'm not here for a day. I am going to be out tomorrow before there's like speculation on anything. I haven't been suspended or anything like that. No, I mentioned this last week, but I'm really excited about it. We are going over for this outdoor hockey tournament. So people in the hockey community, youth hockey community here in Seattle know about this. In fact, literally as I'm talking, I get a text here from Mike and Kent who says Winthrop is awesome. The view at the outdoor rink is fantastic. That's why we're going. They got this outdoor rink in Winthrop. So I haven't quite been there before. My understanding is basically drive to Chelan, and then it's like another hour kind of northeast from Chelan. What a cool idea. What a phenomenally cool idea to have an outdoor rink and bring kids in from all across the region. And there's Canadian teams that come down for this too, and let them all compete outside for 3 days in the outdoor. Like maybe it snows, maybe there's snow around it. What a cool deal. So the whole family's going over. That's why I'm off tomorrow. It's to do something kind of cool and special for Cecily and her team, which I'm just incredibly excited about. And what else am I going to tell you? Something else cool about this. Well, whatever. It's a cool event, and I'm pumped for it. Oh, I wish they hadn't done it Super Bowl weekend. That really felt unnecessary. It's amazing, by the way, how many people I've said to them, like, yeah, probably going to have to leave a little early Sunday morning to get home for the Super Bowl. And they're like, oh, man, wow, it's Super Bowl weekend. I didn't even realize. Like, really? Isn't this one of these events that, like, people build? These are people that like sports. Isn't that an event that you kind of build your life around? Isn't it, in fact, of all events, the number one event that you build your life around more than anything else over the course of the year? It's been the number one rated television event of the year in this country, like forever. Like for as long as I think I've been alive. It's been the number one rated event of the year on television. Really? You're just now being like, oh, wow, yes, Super Bowl. What? That kind of blew me away.
I guess it's the people you're around. We actually have a message, and here's the thing today, talking about how they don't understand these people, these parents that you talk to all the time in kids' school that just don't understand anything about the sports world or the sports radio world.
I find it often. It's really a remarkable thing. Yeah, I am often sort of blown away by how little a group of people out there knows about what's going on in sports or sports radio or what we do or that it exists or any of that stuff. Let's see. So yeah, today we're going to do a bunch of Super Bowl talk. Both Kansas City and Philadelphia will be represented, but bringing in friends. So first, 7:30, Kevin Negandhi, who you guys have seen on SportsCenter, and he hosts studio shows around ESPN. But Kevin's awesome. He and I used to host shows together back when I used to fill in for Gottlieb all the time. Kind of the 3 or 4 main people that I really liked doing that show with were Adnan Virk, Kevin Negandhi, and Bram Weinstein. And so we've had all of them on the show over the course of the years. And Negandhi's awesome. He's also a gigantic Eagles fan. So we're sort of making him a pseudo member of the Eagles media, if that makes sense. He doesn't cover the team necessarily, but I would say he knows as much about what's going on with the Eagles as anybody, but he also brings sort of a fun fan perspective to it as well.
I mean, sometimes I would prefer that. He's in sports, so
Right?
he obviously still knows, but I like getting I don't like when journalists put constraints on themselves, because we all obviously were sports fans. That's why we got into this field.
Yes.
And they're like, I can't act like I have a rooting interest in any of this.
John Clayton, I'm just journalist. I don't
I
work
know.
for anybody.
I love John, but I used to tell him, John, there's no rule written down that you can't say that you like the Steelers.
Or
Nope.
or that he hates
I'm
the
a
Browns
journalist.
because of how he likes the Steelers. But that's
Yes,
all right. I mean,
know.
look, hey,
We
you
used
gotta
to pick on him for
you gotta
that.
tell yourself whatever you gotta tell
Aw.
yourself. Negandhi is a huge Eagles fan, and so we'll talk to him at 7:30, and then at 8:30, Carrington Harrison, who's a radio host in Kansas City, who's essentially, I mean, what a world they've lived in there, man. He works at 610 in Kansas City, used to be partners, I think I've mentioned this before, with Danny Parkins. Danny went to Chicago and is now doing that national morning show with Schlereth on Fox. truly one of the most talented people. Both of them are among the more talented people in this business. And before they were there, Nick Wright was there. So they've had this like incredible run of really talented radio hosts at this small station in Kansas City. Nick has obviously turned being a Kansas City Chiefs fan into like a big business for him at Fox. And Carrington is, I think, the one who still does weekly interviews with Patrick Mahomes. He's got the afternoon show there. Just a cool dude, too. So he will join us, and we'll get his perspective at 8:30. And in the meantime, yeah, we've got like the next step in this Mariner saga of this offseason. Pete Alonso's not going to happen. We think we knew that, but now we know it as he goes back to the Mets. And Justin Hollander spoke yesterday. I am excited to play you some of that sound. I think the reaction to it will be very different from the reaction that we got from Jerry Dipoto speaking on Monday. Their tone and tenor and vision sounded different. And because of it, I think the reaction to it is going to be different. Will there be hardliners who are still incredibly angry and don't want to hear anything and, have their thumbs in their ears and are blah, blah, blah? Yeah. But I think when you hear Hollander's vision, you will say, oh, wow, okay. Like, you're not going to then become convinced that the Mariners are going to be great in 2025. But you'll kind of, my guess is, you'll kind of shrug your shoulders and be like, all right, I see what he's talking about. It doesn't mean you have to believe him or agree with him. Yeah, you have to believe him. You don't have to agree with him. You don't have to. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to. I'm not sure I do. But you'll listen to Hollander, and he'll tell you kind of, hey, here's what we think about the offense, and here's why we think it's going to be different. And you'll go, all right, I hope it works. I hope he's right. It's at least a vision that I can understand and process, and hopefully it'll work. I will tell you guys, I texted him. One of my best friends is a huge Mets fan. Lyle, I texted him last night. Mets better win with this roster. This is after Pete Alonso signed. His response was, we should hit, but I'd feel a lot better with your rotation. I think that is another thing that's worth remembering. And again, I'm not sitting here trying to sell the 2025 Mariners to anybody. If you're frustrated, so am I. The rotation is really good. They are going to be a good team because of it. They may not turn into a great team, but they're at least going to be a good team with, that outside shot that if Arozarena and a few of these other guys, Julio obviously number one, have great years, things look pretty different. So let's take a quick break. I will play you some of that Hollander sound, and you can judge for yourself. You don't have to listen to me. Listen to him. It's next on Brock and Salk.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
I am strangely optimistic. Players get better, and I think that they're doing the best that they can.
So you're happy with you're pleasantly surprised by the offseason?
I'm not happy. I think I lowered my expectations. I'm not being sarcastic about that. I was just going into the offseason, I was like, I don't think that they're going to spend any money. I really don't. And
you were
guess
right.
What? I'm not disappointed. I won't say I'm right. I'll just say that I'm not disappointed.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Get pumped for the big game sales event at the West Hills Autoplex February 7th through the 9th. Come be a winner at the big game sales event February 7th through the 9th. Get your football, gift card, and more at the West Hills Autoplex. Auto Center Way, exit Highway 3, Bremerton.
I'm attorney Rob Iddens, proud Marine Corps veteran and owner of Warrior Injury Law. We help all types of injury victims like Sean, who was rear-ended in a car accident.
They're just easy to work with. They're fast. I like the fact that he had military service. I can see a lot of Marine in Rob. He's very in charge, really gets things done. But I didn't have to do anything. He offered me a settlement, had a number in my head, was nearly double that. I would refer absolutely anybody to Rob.
If you've been injured, call us at 253-WARRIOR. Warrior Injury Law. Battle tested.
Pennies!
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number Limited Edition Smart Bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Seattle Sports has your chance to win 2 tickets to see The Weeknd live at Lumen Field on July 12th. Head to seattlesports.com/win to enter and to see contest rules. That's seattlesports.com/win for your chance to win.
Shane Company has partnered with Cupid to bring you the best Valentine's Day gifts, even if you forgot. We won't tell. From heart necklaces with sparkling diamonds to stylish gold hoops, every piece is made with love. Plus, there's still time to pop the question on the most romantic day of the year. Create your own engagement ring or pick a perfectly preset ring that's ready to go. We make it easy with gifts for every budget, in stock and ready to give, so it looks like you've been planning this for months. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season. I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text GRIT to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text GRIT to 42424. That's GRIT to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle Sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
So here's the deal with Mariners season ticket memberships. You've got 2 great options. With a Flex membership, you have the freedom to pick your seats, games, and number of tickets whenever you want. Or if you like knowing where you're sitting all season long, go with a reserved membership and lock in your seats from day one. Both plans get you access to exclusive pre-sales, year-round discounts, special event invites, and more. Check it out at mariners.com/25.
Now Raleigh wins it in the 10th inning for the Mariners.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five.
Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man, high five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Ooh, up top, bike shop. Yeah.
It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messethorpe, Dubois.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years.
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five.
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Just Cause Legal knows the value of standing up for what's right. If you've been involved in a car crash, Just Cause Legal is here to fight for you with an aggressive team dedicated to securing the compensation you deserve. Just Cause Legal makes the process as painless as possible. Don't wait. Time is critical. Get the help needed today. Visit justcauselegal.com or call 253-859-8899 and meet your legal lifesavers. Just Cause Legal. Fighting for you.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Well, as I said, we did get a different vision for what happened this Mariner offseason and what it could look like moving forward. Here is Justin Hollander explaining why they weren't very good or good enough last year.
We played
terrible offense for the first 4 months of last year as a group. There were individual players who were better in stretches and worse in stretches, but as a group, we were just an unacceptably bad offense for the first 4 months of the season. And that's, if it starts with somebody's fault, it's probably mine. And our front office, we just did not play good enough and put enough pressure on teams. Even when we were 10 games up, we were doing it in ways that was more smoke and mirrors than was going to lead to long-term success.
Right? Yes. Is there a Mariner fan out there that doesn't agree with that? Yes. You played terrible offense for the first 4 months of last year. It wasn't a top 10 offense. It was a terrible offense. Okay. Yes. Not that hard to say.
I mean, it's definitely more quiet than normal for us. I think Jerry talked about it the other day. We sort of envisioned that it might be more quiet than normal, so I didn't think that totally took us by surprise. You know, every offseason is really unique. Some years there's lots of transactions. Some years there's less. Some years they come early. Some years they come late. I think last year we made a fair amount of transactions, but that most of them came later in the offseason. This year, there's just been less.
Yeah, it's just a couple of examples, but honestly, Hollander does a great job. He's a phenomenal spokesman for the organization. His ability to simultaneously take accountability for what has gone wrong, recognize it, and then simultaneously explain the vision for where they want to go with sincerity is impressive. And yesterday was a great example of how that can be done with the right communicator, and a great job done by Justin Hollander. Now, that doesn't mean everyone's going to buy that they're now as good as they could possibly be. John Morosi joined Wyman and Bob yesterday. He's not.
The question becomes, for a team that was so offensively inconsistent and struck out so much, is it basically enough to say that the last month of the season, they scored the most runs in the American League for a month at the end, when Arozarena was there, when more of the team was healthy and productive? So they're basically saying Polanco's going to come back and be a better version of Polanco. We believe Garver and Haniger can be better. And then Solano, as kind of more of a contact-oriented player, fills the role that Turner had, or to a degree, if you want to say Rojas, Urias, others they let go, Haggerty. They've changed a few pieces, but this is not transformative change. If you were a Mariner fan...
No, they would say, yeah, we didn't want transformative change. And that's the vision Justin is trying to tell you. And it's what I've been saying they believe throughout this entire offseason. They think that they played as bad as they were capable of playing for 4 months, that their offense in its true form is better than that. It may not be as good as it was in the last month and a half, but that is a closer proximity of who they really were and who they really are going forward. So for those reasons, that's what the Mariners are going to look like. Pete Alonso is not going to be a Mariner. He chooses to be a New York Met, just like it was always meant to be. $54 million for 2 years. He gets a $10 million signing bonus for that.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
All right, we talked 3 names yesterday for the number 18 pick with Daniel Jeremiah, and I'll play that whole interview coming up in 10 minutes. Kenneth Grant, who was his first mocked player to the Seahawks. He's a big D tackle out of Michigan. He talked about Jackson Dart as a possibility there.
I wouldn't be totally surprised, and I think it would be a good situation for him. I mean, he'll get a chance to come in there and just learn and grow a little bit. I think he is someone that, you know, as he continues to improve and get better and clean some things up just from, you know, mechanically, just getting his feet in the ground first and foremost. But I think you can look at him as someone who could be I call him like a playbook expander because of all the things he can do athletically and movement-wise.
Well, so, again, that is a possibility. They go quarterback at number 18. The other thing we discussed yesterday is trading that pick as part of a package to Cleveland to bring back Myles Garrett.
To me, Myles Garrett, I think, has 4 elite years ahead of him and is a complete difference maker.
He went on to say that he would do it if he were the Mariners, try to put together this year's one, next year's one, and another player, one of their young defensive end linebackers, and try to make it happen. Again, I'm there as long as you truly believe Geno Smith can win you a championship. If you don't, then it's not worth it. And that's why I don't know whether I would make a deal like that. But if you are a Geno believer, I don't understand the 55% of people that voted no in Brock's poll. We'll address them coming up at 7 o'clock.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
By the way, the Seahawks did create a little extra cap room by restructuring with Leonard Williams yesterday. NHL trade deadline a month from tomorrow. Kraken still 9 points out of a playoff spot. but they've also played 2 extra games, so that doesn't help. There's 4 teams between them and that final spot. Look, they need a serious run, and they need to do it like now, or else they're going to find themselves as sellers again at the deadline. And for them, that's not quite as easy as it might sound. So they do have a couple of different pieces. Yanni Gord, Bjorkstrand, Eli Tolvanen. Those guys, I think, could help a contender in the playoffs. 11 of their 18, listen to this, 11 of their 18 regular skaters have some sort of no trade or no move clause. 11. I was reading something about this yesterday. The guy said that maybe that's what it takes to get players to sign with an expansion team like Seattle, but he said that they've essentially handed out no move clauses like Tic Tacs. Like, you can't just give those to everybody or else it better work. You got a problem at the deadline if you're trying to make moves. They've got Toronto tonight. That's a star-laden team and one that sits 1 point out of first place in the Atlantic. That is everything you need to know. And we do a quarter past every hour in the Brock and Salk show. All right, 8 o'clock today, we've got Here's the Thing. I didn't even mention that. There are some great ones, but there aren't a ton of them yet. So, rare chance. You got an hour and a half. Download the app and leave us a message for Here's the Thing. If you want to talk trash, if you want to leave an opinion on something, whatever it is, let us know. Maura says she will check it at least one more time in the next hour. So, yeah.
We'll have it up and ready.
Okay. So leave us a message. Go to our app and do that. Yeah. All right. I want you guys to hear from DJ because he had some really interesting things to say yesterday regarding the Seahawks and what they could do with that number 18 pick. I just gave you 3 of the options. Myles Garrett, good conversation there. Good conversation to be had about a quarterback, and then the guy that he thinks. And by the way, none of those 3 are on the offensive line. So stick around. You'll hear it next on Brock and Salk.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy.
Joining us right now in studio, it's Mariners GM Justin Hollander.
Our goal is to get better every day. Our goal is to win the division. Our goal is to make the playoffs. 85 wins and not making the playoffs is a disappointing season. That's not what we're aiming for. We're aiming for division titles, for playoff series wins, for World Series wins. We need to play better than we did last year, more consistently over 6 months, and that will lead us to our goals.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
It's time to go all in at Toyota of Kirkland. All in on their commitment to quality, innovation, and durability that makes Toyota of Kirkland certified pre-owned and used vehicles the best in the market. When a product is made better, it lasts longer, and Toyota of Kirkland is the place to be to go all in on your next used vehicle for that reason. With a large inventory of certified pre-owned and used vehicles with incredible savings, why not visit their wonderful staff and beautiful showroom today at Toyota of Kirkland or online at toyotaofkirkland.com and go all in on your next car.
O'Brien. Sherry, what have you done to your hair?
What do you mean? Does it not look good?
It doesn't look good. It looks freaking amazing. I can't believe how thick and healthy it looks. Oh, I must know your secret.
No secret. It's hair volume from New Nordic.
Hair volume, huh? Well, it certainly lives up to its name. Your hair has never looked so thick. It is gorgeous.
I was so tired of having thin and brittle hair. Ugh, and the shedding. So I figured I'd give hair volume a try. Needless to say, I'm thrilled with the results. Hey, where are you going?
I'm going to pick up some hair volume right now. My reunion's next month, and I want my hair to look as good as yours.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural health products from New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Scandinavia. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or your local CVS. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Help your hair look full, voluminous, and beautiful again at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BUY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Heading outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Hello. Welcome to Lee Johnson Auto Family. This is King. This organization's a special one. They call it the Lee Johnson Auto Family, and it's not just a name, it's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family, to work together, to really become close, and they show us in a lot of different ways that they do value us. Is it perfect? No place is. But I've been very thankful to be here in the almost 10 years and have every plan to stay here for a lot longer and just watch it continue to grow.
He's fun and professional, which explains why so many people visiting Lee Johnson Kia ask for him by name. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Brock and Salk's Rewind is presented by Toyota of Kirkland.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2. From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
God's bravest Finnish bread.
Okay, that's better.
God's bravest Finnish bread.
Now I can buy that.
That's the
You're throwing in God's bravest. Like
Yes.
there's some substance to that. What you said
texted
earlier
Avery.
of like, oh, Finnish great bread. Like, no.
Well, I didn't have it exact. I texted her. I had a moment in the break there.
Yes,
the translation of Capo Caco is God's bravest Finnish bread. Okay. And unfortunately, that wasn't enough in the shootout last night. Daniel Jeremiah, I don't know whether you've ever typed that into Google Translate and figured out what that means, but here he is, and he joins us most Wednesdays when he's, not busy doing other stuff. Good morning, DJ. How are you?
Oh, it's great to be with you. I'm still getting used to the new, cleaner, shaven version here.
Skinnier,
God,
right?
he
He's
looks
down
so
about
young.
30
He looks-
pounds. What are
he
you down,
looks
30,
great.
Salk? You down 30?
20.
Down 20?
About 20.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
And you know
I'm
Daniel
looking at
Jeremiah,
DJ.
Salk.
I'm looking at DJ on the screen, clean shaven yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what DJ looks like? You know who you look like? If you
I get
were
the same person. I get the same person all the time.
only with a hat. I think it's really with a hat on. You look like a combination of two guys who are very good friends, Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas.
I get Justin Thomas. That's what I was gonna.
Yeah, more JT, more JT.
Yeah.
But you look like Justin Thomas with a little bit of Spieth in there.
Mm-hmm.
I have it like this is a golf hat on.
Yeah.
And I was flying home from the Senior Bowl, and the guy on my flight, he just looks at me and goes, "Are you a golfer?" Like that. And I was like, if it was an 2-hour flight, I thought I could have kept it up, maybe kept up the ruse, but it was a haul. So I was like, I don't think I can pull this off for 4+ hours. So no, I'm not.
I don't think I'd ever really noticed that before, but seeing you with that golf hat on, especially, like, yeah, you got some.
So that long
some of that
flight
vibe.
back from Mobile, probably through Birmingham or somewhere along the way, are you just spent, or after a week down there, is your mind racing?
Usually I'm pretty spent. This time I had a 5:15 flight that was supposed to take me through Dallas to come home, and I missed the 45-minute cutoff to get my bag checked by 2 minutes. So then they had to reroute me. And long story short, I flew the very normal route of Mobile to Dulles to San Diego. So that was my my trek. Yeah. So then and then once it happens, and I'm sure you guys have similar stuff. If you're working something on the plane and everybody looks over your shoulder and sees that it's football related, and so we did a lot. We had a long conversation.
I always look over people's shoulders too. I am fascinated by what everyone else is doing.
Who's the most famous
plane.
person you've sat next to on a plane, by the way?
I have a weird story I've told before of sitting on a plane next to Brad Park's son. Brad Park is an old defenseman for the Bruins and Rangers, which in and of itself is not unusual, except that 30 years earlier, my dad had sat next to Brad Park on a plane and never stops talking about it and talks about it all the time. And then when I was sitting next to his son and we figured it out, that was kind of weird, but not necessarily famous.
That's full circle.
Yeah.
Mark, what you got?
One of my favorites.
Brock's his own famous person. He's next to himself on the plane.
There have been some fun ones, right?
Brock's walking around with his board for his game that week, like, oh, everybody look at me. I've got my board. I'm famous.
He's got Heward on the back of his sweatshirt.
One of my favorites was Jimmy Sexton. I'll tell you that.
Those agents?
Those agents and that guy.
He's got his own plane too, so that's different.
So how did you manage to be next to him?
Oh, this was maybe earlier in his days before he had every coach and had his own plane. But, wealth of fun stories.
Who's yours, DJ?
Mine is very random because it was I thought it was this person, but I didn't know for sure. And I knew somebody who knew this person, so I had to sneak a picture of this person. It was Lauren Conrad from The Hills. You remember the reality TV show The Hills? She was certainly I'm like, I think that was like
Maura's interest over there.
Yeah, see, Maura's it on that. No, that was like James Worthy, sure, but no, it was the girl from The Hills. It was
James
right
Worthy's
behind
pretty
me.
awesome.
Yeah, big game.
So, what did you think of the Senior Bowl? Who stood out? What'd you see down there? What was the vibe?
Good offensive line, defensive line, which, I thought going into it, more so I would say on the defensive line side of it, just tons of talent, tons of depth. When I put out my top 50, I had 16 of the top 50 were defensive linemen, and that was reflected in the talent down there. It was a really, really good group. A lot of guys, as I like to say, graduated, got their Senior Bowl degrees in the middle of the week, and decided to take it on the road, that they had done enough. They just kind of took the tassel and moved it over to the other side.
How does that hit? How does that stick? I know player empowerment's greater than it's ever been. I know the road we're going down. But how do you think that hits in today's world? Maybe differently in any way 5-10 years ago?
Yeah, I remember being in draft meetings, and it would, everything's different. We would, if a guy transferred, we would talk for 30 minutes. Why did he transfer? Why did it not work there? What was the problem? Was it him? Was it the coaches? Why? That whole thing. That's all over. And then you go to the All-Star games, and you didn't really have much of this. You might have some guys who maybe wouldn't play in the game, or maybe would, limit just, hey, I'm going to play a quarter in the game, and then that was it. But now we have, over a dozen guys that bow out in the middle of the week every single year. And it's just kind of, you get used to it. You get accustomed to it. I'm just glad I got a chance to see them, So even if it was one practice, to get a chance to body type them and see them move around with pads on, I think there's tremendous value there. So I don't really complain about it as much. I'm just glad I got whatever I got.
So after seeing all those guys and great defensive linemen, offensive linemen, knowing the Seahawks' great need in the interior of their offensive line, having talked about it with us every week for forever, you mock Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan. How come?
I'm going to play him at guard. No. No, to me, that was one where you're just doing the familiarity. And the guys around the Charger guys who have Michigan ties, and the way they talk about Kenneth Grant and what he's capable of and the ability that he has, obviously there's going to be a familiarity there in Seattle to appreciate that of what he ultimately could be. I think there's also some of that Baltimore existence there in Seattle, which is we're not going to get completely hung up on where our need is. We're never going to pass up on great players. And that's what Baltimore's done forever, to the point where Jonathan Ogden played guard as a rookie. Todd Heap was a backup to Shannon Sharp, and I can go on and on and on, a million of these things. But you don't pass up on great players.
And he is one.
He's got as much ability as anybody in the draft. Like, he hasn't got it all together just yet. But it's just, there's not many people walking around planet Earth that are 340 pounds that can move like this kid can. So it's not all there yet. He hasn't all figured out. You're not gonna be getting year one what you're gonna be getting year three. You're drafting him for year three, which is another side story on where you want to get your team and where your roster. I was talking to somebody in the Eagles organization, and we were talking about the draft, and we were talking about this. How would you like this player versus that player? And he brought up the line and said, well, for us, we have so much depth on our roster that we really talk more about year two and year three with these guys versus how do we need him to plug in year one. Like, they're going to have a hard time getting their first-round picks on the field at most of these positions.
There's some consternation in town up here with our baseball team, DJ, as there is in a bunch of different markets. And some of the strife is, we were told some years ago that this was going to be the offseason. Like, get the pitching done, develop them, amazing rotation, and then, last year and this year is the time to add. And there's just been some frustration with the lack of impact in that way. I was told this was going to be the year in the draft, that through the transfer portal, the COVID years, guys going back to school, getting their money, their NIL, but there was just going to be this big surge. And to my eyes, watching the Senior Bowl, and maybe it was the kids that defected, maybe it was the ones that weren't down there, but it didn't feel to me like an overwhelming group of talent. Am I wrong?
Well, first of all-star games are only as good as the quarterbacks. So it's not a great quarterback draft. So, that was, evidence down there. There was, Jackson Dart did some good things. It's just, Milrose is very up and down, very inconsistent. So let's just put the quarterback thing to the side. It's not a great wide receiver draft. That's another spot which in an all-star setting would definitely show up, because that's flash.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a meat and potatoes offensive line, defensive line draft. It's not anywhere near the top, the top 10, top 15 of this draft is not, we've seen much better over the last several years. It is not the year you want to be picking up there. You definitely would rather be picking in the 20s, because I don't know that there's that much difference between pick 16 and pick 40 in this year's draft. So it hasn't happened yet. We'll see what happens, next year. I know the early buzz from teams that are having to stay a year ahead. I don't have enough time to do that at this point in time, but they like what's coming in terms of quarterbacks and some of the things we don't have in this particular draft.
As you're down there in Mobile and you're talking to everybody, right? I mean, you're watching stuff, but you're seeing GMs and scouts and coaches, and everybody knows DJ, at least those who don't think he's Justin Thomas, and so you're having all these conversations. Does the team Seahawks, does that word come up a lot as you're having conversations with people? Does anyone mention Geno Smith? Does anyone mention DK Metcalf? Do the Seahawks come up at all?
Of all those things, DK Metcalf's the only name that I heard the week down there. I didn't hear Geno's name once. The Seahawks weren't really a topic of conversation, just with the people I was talking to. But in terms of connecting the draft with free agency or potential trades and this not being a great receiver draft of high-end players, I did hear, hey, I'd rather, if there was a way to trade for someone like DK Metcalf, I'd rather do that than take a swing on the kids we'd be looking at in the draft.
So just taking that to the next level. With that being said, does it change how you might view a haul you could get back for DK as of today? What do you think that would be?
I don't have any idea in terms of where that would be right now, just in terms of how many teams will really be, will really want to do it. That's going to drive the price of it. But I think if you're, I think you could get a 1 for him. I think you could get a 1, and I don't know if you get much else than a 1, but you get a 1 and you're going to take on the money. So maybe it's a 1 and a 4, something like that. But I would be very surprised if you couldn't fetch a 1 for DK.
Okay, so then that's a huge statement. So with that in mind, I got to ask you about Myles Garrett, because I think he fits into this. I said earlier this week, if you are of the belief that the Seahawks can win a Super Bowl with Geno Smith, you should be going all in on Myles Garrett. That should be like a huge priority this offseason. He's that good. He's going to be great for the next few years. He would make the defense elite and dominant. You might have some unique ability with a number 18 pick, which is better than what Detroit or Washington or some of the other teams that might want him would have. You have players like Boye Mafe or Derek Hall that you could offer back to Cleveland if they wanted youth to replace him right away. You should be, I think, in a good position, maybe not the best position, but a good position to trade for Myles Garrett. If you could do that and trade DK for a first-round pick, could you completely change around the way this roster looks?
Well, I was just looking over my shoulder to see who you were looking to argue with, because I don't have any. I'm
arguing to the guy who looks to your left, Brock Heward, who wasn't on the same page as me yesterday on this one.
To me, Myles Garrett, I think, has four elite years ahead of him, and is a complete difference maker. So, and especially if I can get. If I could get that done with this year's 1 and next year's 1, and then a player, one of the guys that you mentioned, the whole host of different options you could choose from there, I would do that tomorrow. To me, I think that would make a major difference for this team. It's a push. I can say, okay, well, do you want to save resources to eventually upgrade the quarterback position if you do want to get, a little bit better option there? But I just think where their roster is right now, they're going to be kind of a no man's land for the next handful of years in terms of being able to get that done. So I'm all for making a push, and maybe that's the Padre offseason that I've been looking at, that I'm just I'm leaning towards being a little bit more aggressive with that approach.
But you just said 16 of your top 50 players are defensive linemen. We have talked about the needs to address, first and foremost, the foundation of your home, your interior offensive line. So you trade a first. What are you going to be able to get? Are you going to get a difference maker that's going to come in and plug and play in the second round or the third round?
What if you trade DK Metcalf for a first?
I can get interior offensive linemen on day 2 in this draft. So you can get interior linemen second, third round if you hold on to those in this draft. You would be losing the opportunity with the 18th pick to get a really solid, if you want to say the same position, a really solid defensive end. Myles Garrett, surrounded by the front that's already there in Seattle, even if they had to move one of them with what's next to him, he's got, and you'd be playing with a lead consistently. He's 18 plus sacks. Like, he's a Hall of Fame level player. So I don't, I know it's going to cost more in terms of picks. I know it's going to cost more in terms of money, but you're getting arguably the most talented defensive lineman in the NFL for a 3 or 4 year run at the peak of his powers. To me, that's worth it. You can find interior offensive linemen, any year.
Did you see Andrew Brandt's suggestion on this, where he said, "All right, what if the Browns just say you can have Myles Garrett, you just have to take Deshaun Watson"?
Yeah, that's going to be impossible. I don't think that's possible. And to be honest with you, I was talking to a former GM last night about Myles Garrett, and he was like, "Look, I know it's good fodder, and you guys are having fun with it, and all." But he said, "I don't know how financially Cleveland could do this with the salary cap. With I think it's like $36 million in dead cap if they were to trade him." So that's why I think Andrew Berry's just said this is not happening. When I first hear that, you always say that. But it makes too much sense for them from a team standpoint of let's just take our valuable asset and let's try and go to the bottom a little bit and then build back up, because over the next 3 years, I don't think the Browns are going to be that great. You don't have what you need there. Take this asset, take this opportunity, and trade him. But he was adamant of like, I don't know. He said, I've been doing this for a long time. I looked at salary cap for a long time. I can't figure out how the heck they could make that work.
But just to be clear, and just kind of your messaging earlier, you think it'll take 2 firsts in a player. This year's first, so. Next year's first, and another player.
Yeah, and I think who you are as a team, and that changes the calculus. I mean, if you have the second pick in the draft this year, the third pick in the draft, it's more valuable. That changes it. But the teams that he wants to go to a winner, and those teams are not picking up there. And I don't think the Browns would make that move and send him to a team that's picking next to them in the draft.
Did the Seahawks count?
Oh, I mean, I think that's if I was Myles Garrett and I was looking at their roster and the NFC as a whole, I mean, I'd want to, if I were him, I'd want to get to the NFC. I think that's a clearer path to get where you want to go faster than having to go through all the cyborg quarterbacks in the AFC. I'd be doing my best to get to the NFC.
How much business gets done down there? Compare and contrast the level of business done off the field in Mobile versus the business done in a couple weeks in Indianapolis.
I would say introductions in Mobile. It's a lot of agents meeting with general managers and here's who I have. Here's kind of the general outlook of who my free agents are, what we want to do. Maybe some very broad parameters, and then I would say the combine is where everything gets pretty much done. Wink, wink, tickle, tickle,
tickle, tickle.
I mean, come on. Like,
no,
nothing's official. Nothing's official. But all the information guys have all the tweets in queue as soon as the free agency starts. Bam, 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 bam.
Hey, so a couple of weeks ago, you mentioned a name on the show that I've been fascinated by, and I've probably played the cut about 100 times.
This is what happens with Salk. You say something, and I got to hear it.
No, this is great. DJ and I sometimes disagree. Sometimes we're on the same page. And when we were talking through possible names to be the Seahawks offensive coordinator, obviously they eventually went with Clint Kubiak, but you mentioned Chip Kelly. And I was fascinated by it. I love that. I'm an unabashed Chip fan, and the way you described him and the way he's kind of changed and adapted over the years, I think he's going to be excellent. What did you make of the decision to hire Clint Kubiak, and then what happened a couple days later when the Raiders and Pete Carroll, of all people, decided to hire Chip Kelly?
Well, Clint Kubiak's well regarded and well respected around the league, and that's a family name that carries a lot of weight in the NFL. And he knows exactly what that offense is and what it looks like, and knows it inside and out. So they will have a system, a system that's been tried and true. So I totally get and understand that hire, and I think it's a solid hire. And then on the Chip Kelly side of things, I mean, first of all, my first thought was, I guess we're just going, this is like I got in a time machine. We're going back to the Pac-12 of, 10 years ago? Right. Harbaugh, Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll. I said, like, is Mike Riley coming in? I mean, where's he going? I'm excited to see this whole thing come together. But no, I think he'll do a really good job there. And the criticisms of Chip have been more about, maybe it's personality and as a head coach and maybe some of the communication. In terms of designing and being creative and calling plays and having an identity which can change based off of his personnel, I think he's really, really good. I like that hire.
Mm-hmm. I want to get back to the QBs you mentioned there, and I thought I think it was Pelissaro and his great hair and teeth that was on the field at one point when I was watching the Senior Bowl, and he had Lane Kiffin. And did Tom say, gosh, he is drippy or swaggy or something? And Lane was like, well, he's confused. He's Utah to USC to Ole Miss. So he's kind of a lot going on. He's a name that we have seen at 18 to the Seahawks, right? The Seahawks want to go that route, find their next young guy. If I told you today that John Schneider takes Jackson Dart at 18 in late April in Green Bay, Daniel Jeremiah says what?
I wouldn't be totally surprised, and I think it would be a good situation for him. I mean, he'll get a chance to come in there and just learn and grow a little bit. I think he is someone that as he continues to improve and get better and clean some things up just from, mechanically just getting his feet in the ground first and foremost. But I think you can look at him as someone who could be I call him like a playbook expander because of all the things he can do athletically and movement-wise. I think
who would be his NFL comp? Who would you look at and go, oh, yeah, here was a guy that was in a bunch of different spots, played in that system, right? That spread, space, all gun.
Watching these guys,
watching these guys take a snap, DJ, painful.
Oh yeah, it's not. Yeah, well they are. What did we used to call it? By the way, you got to seat the ball, right? Is that it's just to get it from here to seat the ball it's a long process.
Yeah.
I would say, interestingly enough, it's kind of might surprise you, but there's like a Jalen Hurts comparison there.
Yeah.
He can run like that?
Rugged. He's got like 1,500 yards rushing in the SEC.
Yeah, he's strong
over his career. So just like, Jalen is tough, rugged, had things that, he needed to polish up and clean up, but you saw Jalen get better each year in college. You've seen Dart get better every year in college, respected by his teammates. I think good traits in terms of like as a thrower, but nothing that's elite level. Neither one of them have huge arms, but they're just ultra competitive and guys that I think just find ways to get things done. And it's not necessarily a prototype to them.
Is Dak?
That's in the same family. I think that's in the same family for sure.
I would take that with the 18th pick.
And you don't have to play him. You don't have to play him. You don't have to play him right away. He's my 41st player, so I mean, you're not talking about something that's in a draft where I've already told you I don't know that there's much difference between pick 16 and 40. So that's all those players. Like if you just look at grades, my player that I have at 16, 18 is going to carry almost the exact same grade as the player I have at 45 to 55. Like it's just however you want to slot them, which. On the media side of things, I always say it's harder because I'm not stacking them for a team with a scheme and how we would use them. So it's kind of arbitrary in terms of how you put those together.
That's Daniel Jeremiah, who joins us every Wednesday from NFL Network and Move the Sticks. So Myles Garrett, he lays it out there a way the Seahawks could get Myles Garrett and completely change the nature of their team. Are you buying it? If you are, you're in the minority. Brock and I will discuss next.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with former Cougs and Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
What are some Super Bowl stats and facts that you found that intrigue you?
Just messing around, looking at numbers and stuff, and here are some fun ones for you. How much do you think the average ticket was for the Super Bowl last year?
$2,500.
$7,500.
Oh, my God.
Crazy.
Rich people problems.
For Down Territory, every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
Get pumped for the big game sales event at the West Hills Autoplex February 7th through the 9th. Come be a winner at the big game sales event February 7th through the 9th. Get your football, gift card, and more at the West Hills Autoplex. Auto Center Way, exit Highway 3, Bremerton.
What is that sound? Ugh, that sounds like a plumbing sound. Luckily, there's a company that fixes all the plumbing sounds across Puget Sound. That's All Sound Plumbing. Puget Sound's plumbing experts. Have a sound? Visit allsoundplumbing.com.
Febreze. It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now, all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Hi, welcome to Staples. Hi, I hear Staples can print it all for my business.
Oh, if you can think it, Staples can print it. And will beat any print quote.
Oh, great. I'm thinking new brochures and yard signs.
No problem.
I'm thinking calendars, t-shirts, and pens.
Totally.
I'm thinking Staples is the place for printing.
I thought you might think that.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
You know, someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. So I actually went home and counted how many connected devices I own. It's more than a dozen. All to keep me connected to the good stuff. Streaming, gaming, all the interneting, you name it. Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. And that's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices. Hundreds, for real. And now through March 18th, get Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for a year with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add an unlimited mobile line. And ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with trade-in. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store and bank account. Taxes and fees extra after promo regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required. Reduce mobile speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds and actual internet speeds vary.
Take your game day experience to the next level with a Mariner Suite. Suites are perfect for birthdays, anniversaries, client meetings, and that company outing you've been trying to plan for months. Enjoy first-class catering, VIP parking, custom setups for 14 to 400 people, and more, all with the help of a dedicated Mariners rep. Suites start at $125 per person, and season ticket members get 15% off. Reserve now at mariners.com/suites.
Munoz strikes out the side, and the ball game is over.
Hey, it's Chris Canty. Guys, you don't want to fumble Valentine's Day. You need a solid game plan. Send foolproof flowers from the Books Company and get 25% off your entire purchase. Books flowers are fresh, vibrant, and last way longer. Some are even grown on the side of a volcano. Don't wait. Valentine's Day is February 14th, so get your order in now. Go to Books.com, use my promo code CANTY for 25% off. That's BOUQS.com, promo code CANTY. Books, promo code CANTY.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Get his freaking auto!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
I don't read the internet, guys.
Take the bull by the hands.
And Brooke, you are. And Brooke, you are.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Heward and Mike Salk.
What's going on with you today?
Whoa.
What's going on with you?
Look at the Salk stripes.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is my après. It's an après ski look.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is for going out to Winthrop later, man. It's winter.
I know. I know. And there are multiple stripes.
We're winter chic.
And you're so slim these days.
Thank you.
You're just melting away.
It's winter chic. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. But what's going on with you? I'm a little worried about you.
Why?
You know, you're a pretty powerful guy, right? You walk around, you carry your board so that everybody knows kind of, how important you are doing games and all that.
Look at me.
Look at me. You know, you do this little epic poll yesterday.
Uh-huh.
There's like 1,900 respondents.
Yeah, it's not very good.
What's going on? Are you getting shadow banned? Did you insult Elon? What's going on with you? Why are you out of the algorithm? What's happened?
I think so. Yeah.
This is pretty weak for Brock Heward. 1,900 responses?
I mean, for 105,000 followers to have like less than 2,000 votes.
What is going on there?
Something's going on.
Something. I mean, you must have. Have you turned liberal? What's happened?
I don't know.
Make Elon mad?
Does Elon think because I work out in Seattle, I'm just a leftist?
He might.
Is that?
He might.
He might.
He might think that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's happened to you?
I don't know, but I was pretty disappointed by those numbers as well.
I think you should be. I'm a little sad for you.
Jeepers,
also, a little interesting to see
be better.
that when you ask people, would they give up a first, and a player to be named later?
Yeah.
For Myles Garrett,
Yeah.
56% said no thanks. 44% said yes.
Yes.
Why?
I think the overwhelming number of responses as well, Salk, from the people that did comment on it was twofold. It really was two things. It was number one, learn our lesson. Learn our lesson. Learn the Jamal Adams lesson. Learn about trading for older defensive players and giving up the farm for older defensive players. That's not a great recipe.
Okay.
That was probably the.
I've got a response to that.
I know you do. And the second thing was, what are we doing? Why do you go get a Lamborghini? Why do you go get a great thing when the foundation of the house isn't built? When the offensive line, when you got these now resources and a first rounder and a second rounder and all the, and you just moved some money around with Leonard Williams and freed up some cap space. Take care of what's on fire. And what's on fire is this offensive line that has been the problem, not adding another piece to the defense.
Yeah, so I think I could respond to those comments and make a third. The first is, for those of you who think that, the trades are the problem and that this would be just like all the other trades, I would disagree for two main reasons. One, I don't think that all of the trades have been bad. When they've gone after guys like Jimmy Graham, yes, you're right, that one didn't work. But Marshawn Lynch was a trade. But the one that's probably more analogous to this one, or the two, would be Jadeveon Clowney and Dwayne Brown, whose name I've now forgotten twice in 2 days. I apologize to Dwayne, who's a tremendous athlete and a really good player.
Yes.
This is different from any of those. All of those other trades John made were because the player wanted to get paid and the team didn't want to pay him. And there is a level of risk that comes with acquiring a player that team has chosen not to pay because they know him best. That's not the case here. Myles Garrett got paid. The Browns would happily pay him again. He doesn't want to play for that lousy organization because they're a mess. This is a completely different situation than Jamal Adams wanting to get paid by the Jets, and the Jets, shockingly, were right in saying, we're not going to pay this guy. It's not worth it. Well,
body's beat up.
This is different. Nobody's saying they wouldn't pay Myles Garrett. He's saying, I refuse to keep playing for this organization because they're such a train wreck. So I don't put this in the same category as deals made for players whose teams have decided they don't want to pay them. I think you're right that there's a lesson to be learned there. It just doesn't apply here.
Okay.
He's not a Lamborghini. He plays a foundational position. There's no doubt about that. He is an edge rusher who can also completely blow up the running game from the edge. He plays an important position, arguably the second or third most important position on the team after, quarterback, and maybe you would want to say defensive line, but I would put him as an edge rusher right there, if not more important than the D-line. He's a complete game wrecker. He's an elite player. He's a Hall of Famer, and he's going to be great, as DJ said, for the next 4 or 5 years. Garrett is not some... he's not an extraneous. He's not descending, and he's not an extraneous piece. He is a foundational piece to winning a championship. So I would strongly disagree with that take.
Okay.
As for whether or not you need to attack the offensive line, of course you do. No one's saying that you don't. But I do worry if there's been a little overreaction to the point of don't do anything unless you fix the offensive line first. It's like, no, I think you could fix the offensive line.
Where the Mariners drafted nothing but pitchers?
It wasn't the Mariners. It was the Angels.
Was it the Angels?
Yes.
Drafted nothing but pitchers.
And it didn't work at all.
No.
None of them were good.
That was not great.
None of them turned out to be good pitchers.
Not great.
But Brock, there are ways to fix an offensive line without and still making a deal like this.
Yeah.
The last thing I would say, and this is where I'm going to take you to task. quite frankly, Brock. I'm not all in on this, as you suggested that I was.
You're all in.
I'm not all in.
You and DJ are.
I'm not all in. I'm intrigued, certainly. But I want to say exactly what I said yesterday. If you believe that you can win a Super Bowl with Geno Smith, you should be all in on this. I'm not sure that I believe that. And so
why should that matter? I mean, you built up the team, right? Look at what they did the first time.
Because if you don't believe you can win a Super Bowl with him,
you build up your team, and then you get your quarterback whenever and however and by any means possible. You build up your whole team. You
all right,
don't worry about it.
That's a fair point.
Thank you.
That's a fair point. I will untake you to task. No, that's a good point. That is a good point.
Yeah.
But I think I meant it more the other way. If you do believe it, then you should absolutely be all in on this because it helps put you over the top with a guy.
But if you believe he's got 3 or 4 years, then it really doesn't matter. Okay, we got Geno for this year, right? And that'll be great. And we'll go all in, or the next 2 years, or whatever it is. This is not.
Here's why, Brock. Here's why you don't make this deal
for one season.
Here's why you don't make this deal if you don't believe in Geno. It's not because of the number 18 pick. It's not because of the money for Myles Garrett, and it's not because of Boye Mafe or Derek Hall. It's because of next year's number 1. It's because that becomes an extremely important piece if you are trying to find that quarterback down the road. Yep. And because, you may not want to be really, really, really good, but not good enough if you're looking to make that number 1 pick matter.
Well, I wonder if, as DJ said, you could get a 1 for DK, then you try to send DK as a 1 to a bad football club.
Well, now you got a real conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, now there is a real conversation. So am I all in on this? I think that would be an exaggeration. Do I think that there's a lot of ways you could use this as a starting point for making the Seahawks much, much, much better? Yes, I do think that there.
Were you surprised that it was such a negative poll? I thought that this would be one that'd be like 75% yes. No. I thought there would be more Salks and more DJs and more like, yep. If you
I
get
think
a chance,
you biased the poll. That's the last thing I would say to you, Brock. I'm going to go back to chastising you.
I bias things.
Well, you said that I liked it. Once you say I like it, you know that there's a portion of the audience that is going to say I don't like it just because Salk does. So you clearly...
They learned by watching the best.
You clearly
and you know what is so...
Oh, people like that? I'm going to take the opposite stance. They learned it by watching you.
And you know what is so sad about that? It's a little bit like Molly and I at times. When I may say something, I may do something with no intent like that at all.
Right, of course.
And I'm like, you don't believe me? She's like, no, I don't. And it doesn't matter. I'm like, but I did. That was not my purpose. That was not my intent.
I don't think you meant to bias the poll. But
I did not.
But you did. but you clearly did. Oh, I'm not going to assume intent. I'll leave that to Molly. She knows you better than me. But I'm quite sure. Well, how did you vote in the poll?
How would I have voted? I would say yes to that. I think I've come around on it. I think initially I was but I think the more that we talk about it, and DJ saying the next 3 or 4 years, you have a star. You have a Bosa. You have an Armstead. You remember those games against 49ers? Do you remember those Seahawks fans and all those games? Do you remember Pete Carroll, not making excuses, but the
He's better
explanation?
Than those guys. He might be better than those guys.
He's right. Bosa, Nick's pretty
They're pretty good. He might be better. I mean, he's that kind of special. I mean, he might be the best defensive player in the NFL.
Yeah, do you remember those games when it felt like you just got no chance?
Right.
Because those guys are just on you again and again and again, and they just suffocate you, and they just totally take you apart. That kind of swayed me because that vision with him and Murphy and Leonard and the rest.
All right.
That's dangerous.
Well, it wasn't his only suggestion for the number 18 pick. He gave 2 others. You'll hear what those are next on Brock and Salk.
The Hot Stove Show, Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m.
Have I ever told you how much I enjoy doing the Hot Stove Show? Every day. I mean, this is truly one of the best ways that we have to get to know some of these guys. Long-form conversation. You don't have the pressures of the season. You're not in the clubhouse, right? There's not a hitters meeting or a pitchers meeting to go to. I think we get some of our very best stuff from all these guys, players and coaches, front office members, right here each and every week during the winter.
Stay up to date on the Mariners offseason. The Hot Stove Show, every Tuesday leading up to spring training.
All right, Mike Salk here. I know you may be wondering about the big spread for the big game this weekend. No, not the betting line. I'm talking food, right? KC ribs, Philly cheesesteak, the whole deal. You got your chips, your dips, the crock pots. Everyone's going to eat a ton. Well, you can. You can still eat delicious food, including this Sunday, and still lose weight. It's possible with the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic plan. I appreciate what Brock said a few minutes ago, that I'm looking slim and trim. It's true. I've been working hard here over the last month to just make sure I was where I wanted to be. It's not counting calories. There's no boxed or packaged fake food, no pills, no injections, no surgery, obviously. It's just healthy, quality, tasty, real food with great recipes. You buy all the food at the grocery store. And the plan works. I lost 35 pounds in 8 weeks. You can do it too. Dr. Coogan and Eastside Weight Loss Clinic have helped over 4,000 people in our area lose up to a pound per day. That's 35 total in my case. Yeah, it works. Just give them a 15-minute phone call, okay? Do it while you're on your way to the grocery store shopping for this weekend. Go to EastsideWeightLossClinic.com. Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Bull riding, the perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. PBR bucks into Angel of the Winds Arena in Everett Friday, February 14th and Saturday, February 15th. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Your favorite Seattle sports show is available anywhere you go through the Seattle Sports app. Brought to you by Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center Proton Therapy. Full shows and interviews, exclusive video and articles from the home of the Seahawks and Mariners. The Hot Stove Show. Stay up to date on the Mariners offseason with Aaron Goldsmith, Gary Hill, and Shannon Dreyer.
Swing and a miss for strike 3.
Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. leading up to spring training.
Bring on the sunshine with a trip to see your Seattle Mariners. Come to sunny and warm Peoria, Arizona for another great year of spring training baseball. There's no better time to wind up at the Peoria Sports Complex where you can see all your favorite Mariners up close. Spring training in Peoria has plenty of sunshine, warm temperatures, and the best seats in baseball. It's family fun for all ages. Book your trip today. Support your Seattle Mariners in Arizona for another exciting spring training season. Get your tickets at PeoriaBaseball.com.
Coming to the Emerald Queen Casino Event Center, Thursday night, March 13th. It's Keith Sweat. The legendary R&B artist, Keith Sweat. Get your tickets while they last at EmeraldQueen.com. Don't miss Keith Sweat, March 13th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. 21 and older, need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit EmeraldQueen.com.
Stacey Ross here, and I'd been putting off getting a new car for not just months, but years. I know a lot of you are just like me. It feels like a hassle. Maybe you're nervous about taking on a new expense, so I just didn't. But I ran into an issue with a recent repair, and I finally caved and pulled the trigger. It was time. It had been 8 years since my last purchase, so I wanted to explore everything. The answer for me was clear. Wayscar Ford in Auburn. I checked out their inventory online at wayscarford.com. A ton of selections here. Broncos, Escapes, Explorers, F-150s, F-250s. They don't just have Fords, you'll find Hondas, Kias, Chevrolet, Toyotas, and more. I made the trip out, was able to take a look at a ton of options before settling on a Bronco Sport. I absolutely love it. I don't know why I waited so long. So if you're in the market or know you need to upgrade your vehicle, take my advice and don't wait any longer. Go to wayscarford.com and see their amazing selection and prices. They've been in Auburn for over 100 years, so you know you can trust them. You don't stay in business that long without making people happy. And that's certainly how I feel now. That's wayscarford.com.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
It can be done, Brock. There is a way to take responsibility and accountability for the problems the Mariners have had offensively while still offering a pretty sincere vision for what they would like to do and why they believe in this year's team. Justin Hollander did it yesterday on with Bump and Stacy. He first talked about the problems they had offensively.
We played terrible offense for the first 4 months of last year as a group. There were individual players who were better in stretches and worse in stretches, but as a group, we were just an unacceptably bad offense for the first 4 months of the season. And that's, if it starts with somebody's fault, it's probably mine. In our front office, we just did not play good enough and put enough pressure on teams. Even when we were 10 games up, we were doing it in ways that was more smoke and mirrors than was going to lead to long-term success.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Is there anybody here who has a problem with him saying that? I can't imagine there is.
Remember, after those 4 months, the conversations we were having, you were...
Worst of all time.
Yeah, you were pushing. You were under 200 batting average.
All right.
Batting average. No, that's a pretty good barometer historically.
When you get to
where
that
you
point.
were at. Yes.
Well, then he talked about this offseason.
I mean, it's definitely more quiet than normal for us. I think Jerry talked about it the other day. We sort of envisioned that it might be more quiet than normal, so I didn't think that totally took us by surprise. You know, every offseason is really unique. Some years there's lots of transactions. Some years there's less. Some years they come early. Some years they come late. I think last year we made a fair amount of transactions, but that most of them came later in the offseason. Mm-hmm. This year, there's just been less.
I just think he does a nice job, Justin does, of being a good spokesman for the organization. Mm-hmm. Again, the vision, the sincerity, after hearing him talk about, what their offense could be. As I said, I don't know whether everyone's going to believe it and be convinced by it, and I'm not sure they should be.
Yep.
But I think when you hear it, you say, all right, they believe that their offense was better than it looked in the first 4 months, that was the worst possible version of it, that they got it fixed philosophically in the last few months, and that they've got a plan to bring out the best in the players they already have. And if those players are good, their offense will be good. Their pitching is great. Do I believe that plan is ultimately the most likely to be successful? No, I think there's better plans. But do I think that plan has a chance to be successful? Absolutely. Yes, I do.
Well, who and what was the genesis of, and I'm trying to give credit where credit is due. I honestly, I forget who it was that said, actually giving veterans another year in the place may help.
It might have been Mike Petriello, but we talked about that last week.
We did. And I think that's, I think that's exactly where it is. It was kind of born out of that. That, hold on a second, you've tried all these things. What you've not necessarily tried is given a Mitch Garver, given a Jorge Polanco, given guys with some track record, right? Giving them more than just one season to flail in that building.
Yeah.
I hope it works.
Yeah, I do too. Pete Alonso's not going to be here. He goes back to the Mets. $54 million for 2 years with a $10 million signing bonus.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
We talked to DJ yesterday a lot about the number 18 pick, Daniel Jeremiah. We spoke about one possibility, trade it and try and use it as a package to get Myles Garrett. He also brought up Kenneth Grant, who was his first mock, who's a big-time defensive tackle.
He's got as much ability as anybody in the draft. Like, he doesn't got it all together just yet. But it's just, there's not many people walking around planet Earth that are 340 pounds that can move like this kid can.
Do you still need to do that after taking Byron Murphy? I mean, aren't they kind of similar?
So can you ever have enough of those unique human beings?
No, I understand. They're both unique human beings.
I mean, but do you really need Mekhi Becton at guard?
But here's the question I'm asking you.
You really need to add another? Yes.
Need is one thing. Obviously, you don't need it. I mean, it'd be great to have. The question I guess I had is, aren't they both in a 3-4 system like they're running? Do either of those two guys really play the DN spot?
Well, I don't know if they're a 3-4. I think they're more of a 4 down front. And remember, they slide guys up and down that line of scrimmage in all different spots.
Works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not a 3-4, you're nose tackle. You're a 4-3, you got to be only a one technique. No, those guys like Leonard Williams can slide up and down the line of scrimmage a little bit. And
well, he gave one other.
Jaron Reed's also an unrestricted free agent.
He gave one other possibility, and that's going quarterback at number 18 with Jackson Dart.
You don't have to play him right away. He's my 41st player. So, I mean, you're not talking about something that's in a draft where I've already told you, I don't know that there's much difference between pick 16 and 40, you know? So that's all those players. Like, if you just look at grades, my player that I have at 16, 18 is going to carry almost the exact same grade as the player I have at, 45 to 55. Like, it's just however you want to slot them, which on the media side of things, I always say it's harder because I'm not stacking them for a team with a scheme and how we would use them. So it's kind of arbitrary in terms of how you put those together.
Not arbitrary to me. I don't want the 41st talent at 18.
But if he's a quarterback, 41 at 18 is not a problem.
And Jackson Dart's a little squishy. He's got a lot going on.
He does. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot. There's a lot of, you know what he has?
Pretty fun.
Hey, Lyle, you know what he's got? Just came to my head. My big old just cranium.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of flair.
He does.
Jennifer Aniston, Office Space, flair.
Yeah.
Lots of it.
Got something.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
NHL trade deadline, Brock, is 1 month from tomorrow. Kraken are 9 points out of a playoff spot, but they've also played 2 extra games, and there's 4 teams between them and that last spot. So it's not looking good. You got to have a real serious run here in the next few weeks, or else you're sellers. Okay. Problem with being a seller for them is 11 of their 18 regular skaters have some sort of no-move clause. That's a lot.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, no kidding. And so while guys like Gord or Bjorkstrand, Tolvanen are, I think, all really good pieces for a championship team, that's a lot of problems trying to move guys and what it looks like, and do they want to go, and do they sign?
You don't think those guys would say, get me to a contender?
Some might, but if there's a way to get more money out of that contender while they do it, that's often why they use these no trade clauses, right? Yeah. Anyway, they got Toronto tonight. Remember, star-laden team that is 1 point out of first place in the Atlantic. Yes. That's everything you need to know.
What if I told you?
What if you told me?
What if I told you that before this free agency began, this Major League Baseball free agency frenzy began this offseason, what if I would have told you that Christian Walker was 3 years and $60 million, and Pete Alonso was 2 years and $54 million? When it was all said and done, when the dust settled, that's what the contract they signed to go the places they went to. Would you have thought the Mariners would have a shot at one of those two?
Yes.
Do you think simply that those guys just said no muss, no way, no how?
Yes.
Not going to do it.
I mean, it sounds like
even if it was 3 and 70.
Well, he was offered 3 and 70. It looks like elsewhere. I mean, that's the thing that came out. That was the number I had put out there for Alonso. What if you do 370? He turned down 370 for 254 with the Mets.
Yeah, and really at 1 year, right? He's got a player option after 1 year.
But okay, and he got a $10 million signing bonus to kind of crank up the first year salary. So I don't think the Mariners really probably could have matched that. And I do think that he wanted to go back to New York. I always felt like that was the most logical landing spot for him. But yeah, look, it's a bummer to have come through the whole offseason without getting any of those dudes.
These aren't the 8-year, $350 million for Trey Turner, right? These aren't these just absurd numbers that we saw a couple years ago in that shortstop deal. I mean, these were, you would think, more reasonable short-term monies.
And I do think that, the impending labor unrest in a couple of years was a big part of that.
Hollander was talking about.
I really believe that owners around the country did not want to be stuck in long-term deals that they might still have and be beholden to in a salary cap situation in just a couple of years from now. All right, Brock, we're going to spend a lot of time in the Super Bowl today. An hour from now, we'll go to Kansas City. First, we got to go to New Orleans and talk to our friend Kevin Nagandi, ESPN SportsCenter host and Eagle fan extraordinaire. Next on Brock and Salk.
The Hot Stove Show, Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m.
Have I ever told you how much I enjoy doing the Hot Stove Show?
Every day.
This is truly one of the best ways that we have to get to know some of these guys. Long-form conversation. You don't have the pressures of the season. You're not in the clubhouse, right? There's not a hitters meeting or a pitchers meeting to go to. I think we get some of our very best stuff from all these guys, players and coaches, front office members, right here each and every week during the winter.
Stay up to date on the Mariners offseason. The Hot Stove Show, every Tuesday leading up to spring training.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here, and kind of like my buddies in the building that got to realize their professional football dreams, we all live in a little bit of pain, but you don't have to play pro sports with separated shoulders and torn rib cartilage and dislocated, ankles and knees to know what I'm talking about. Painful joints from arthritis can affect anyone and make it hard to do pretty much anything. Well, that is where my friend, Dr. Daniel Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine right over there in Kirkland, that's where he answers the call. He has seen so many patients through the decades suffering from chronic joint pain, be it your shoulder, your hip, your knee, your back. So don't let pain stop you from your quality of life. Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques. Many have jumped aboard and in this field lately. Not Dr. Nelson. He's been at it for over 3 decades, and he's got a lot of tools in his tool bag, including stem cell therapy, a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells and platelet-rich plasma. Consider that and a whole bunch more with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD, at 425-823-4000. That's 425-823-4000, or visit DanielNelsonMD.com. That's DanielNelsonMD.com.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Get pumped for the big game sales event at the West Hills Autoplex February 7th through the 9th. Test drive and receive a $10 Amazon gift card. Purchase a vehicle and receive a 65-inch 4K Samsung TV. Play our tailgate toss and receive up to an additional $500 off your vehicle purchase. Plus, enter to win a Traeger Pro Series grill. Come be a winner at the big game sales event February 7th through the 9th. Get your football, gift card, and more at the West Hills Autoplex. Auto Center Way, exit Highway 3, Bremerton.
Just Cause Legal knows the value of standing up for what's right. If you've been in a car crash, Just Cause Legal is here to fight for you. With aggressive auto insurance lawyers on your side, you will secure the compensation you deserve. Just Cause Legal makes the process as painless as possible. Don't wait. Time is critical. Get the help needed today. Visit justcauselegal.com or call 253-859-8899 and meet your legal lifesavers. Just Cause Legal, fighting for you.
Washington's biggest night out for sports is the annual Sports Star of the Year Awards. Join the Seattle Sports Commission for the 90th anniversary of Sports Star and experience red carpet interviews on Media Row, a champions gallery of sports memorabilia, and a live awards show created for the sports community by the sports community. Don't miss your chance to be among the stars on February 27th at the 90th annual Sports Star of the Year Awards, presented by Microsoft. Get your tickets now at seattlesports.org.
Headed outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nellie on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on seattlesports.com.
Every window tells a story, whether it's watching your kids play outside or enjoying a beautiful sunset. This is Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Our replacement windows are designed to frame those moments. Brighten your home with our exclusive offer. Buy 3 windows and get 1 free. Call today to take advantage of this limited deal. 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Jewelrygram, it's your friends at Shane Company here to remind you that Valentine's Day is Friday, February 14th. It's the most romantic day of the year to give and get fine jewelry. We have expertly crafted gifts for every type of sweetheart. For the one, we'll help you propose with the dream engagement ring. Come see our wide selection of hand-picked natural and lab-grown diamonds in all shapes and sizes. In stock and ready to compare side by side right here in our store. Or maybe you'll fall in love with the natural, colorful gemstone. At Shane Company, we're known for our sapphires in every color of the rainbow. We have options for every style and budget. Get creative and design a custom necklace with meaningful charms, including 14-karat gold letters, engravable hearts, and birthstones. Our mother-of-pearl heart-shaped collection makes a perfect gift that's ready to give. At Shane Company, love is always in the air with our unmatched free lifetime warranty, everyday competitive prices, and no-pressure shopping experience. Come see us in-store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This hour of the Brock and Salk Show is powered by Star Rentals, preferred supplier to the West's best contractors.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, last chance if you want to get something in for Here's the Thing in a half hour. Maura brought in, I think, one or two more this morning. So download the app and you can be a part of Here's the Thing at 8 o'clock. C-Dot, Carrington Harrison from Kansas City, going to join us in an hour, and we'll chat with him. Yep.
What did you say?
C-Dot, that's how he goes by. That's his name. C-Dot, Carrington Harrison. Yeah, it's like C-Dot Harrison.
Interesting.
I think is sort of where it came from. So he's going to join us. He's awesome. We've talked to him a bunch of times before, and we'll talk to him at 8:30. So that's coming up. And then Kevin Nagandi is going to join us in just a sec. He was on Radio Row, and he's just getting himself to a spot where we can more easily chat with him. So hang on just a moment, and we'll have Mr. Nagandi with us, Brock.
Big Eagles fan.
Huge.
Big Eagles fan.
Yeah, and I love that. Maura was saying that she kind of sometimes appreciates talking to not just the, Big J journalist, that sometimes it's fun to talk to someone who understands sports, obviously. Kevin's been at ESPN Sports Center for, almost 2 decades now.
Never aged.
Right? Exactly.
He's got to have some good skin ointments.
Do you think that's what it is?
Stuff. Yeah.
Do you think he's a snail mucin guy?
I think I think he lives a pure lifestyle, and he's just got that skin that's not aged.
You think he's a snail mucin guy?
No, I think Maura is a snail mucin gal.
Okay, so you think he just
Korean skincare? You guys should look into
You just
it.
think he's got good genetics, which is why he's not aging?
I think that's a part of it.
Is that the deal, Nagandi? Do you have good genetics? Do you use snail mucin? How come you're not aging? What's going on with you?
Good to see you. Andre, good to see you, buddy. Didn't mean to interrupt.
You're busy.
Yeah, and everybody loves him too, which is what's so
Hey,
amazing.
hold on 1 second. I got to go do the show at Brock and Salk.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I got to dap up some people. You there, Kevin?
Hey guys, how we doing?
Well, we were already talking to you. We were asking you about,
oh my God,
how
I'm
young
sorry,
you look. I mean, we were sitting here saying
it sounded like a post-game interview, where they ask a question and all the players come over and dap them and hug them and love on them. It's good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I'm walking through. I saw a couple guys that you don't get the chance. You get stuck in Bristol behind a desk, and you don't get the chance to see a lot of people. And so it's nice walking around Radio Row and running into old familiar faces.
That's awesome. Well, so people know we've been kind of setting it up. Of course, Kevin Nagandi, big time ESPN Sports Center host, behind the desk, as he just said, but also has kept this great passion for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I love that about you. I love that you're just, hey, look, I'm an Eagles fan in addition to being a huge sports person and all of it. We love it. So take us inside Philadelphia right now. What is sort of the vibe around this Eagles team?
Weird. You want to know why it's weird? Because a lot of us are feeling good, and we don't know how to handle feeling good. Because I've got to tell you, when you look at the roster, the Eagles match up, and they have a better roster. Very similar to 2017. They're dealing with a dynasty. They're dealing with a quarterback and a coach that's better than the Eagles quarterback and coach. But everybody else, when you look head to head, you feel really good, right? You feel good about the offensive line. You got Saquon Barkley. Like, all that stuff plays a huge role here in the conversation. So it's very weird. Guys, I was more nervous against the Packers. I was more nervous, especially against the Rams, than I am going into this game, even though number 15 is on the other side. He has the magic.
How does this compare to 2 years ago in this matchup between these two teams?
I thought the Eagles had the advantage, but the one thing that played a role in this game was the turf. The Eagles' front four was fantastic with the sacks. They could not stay on the field because they kept on slipping. And that sod played a huge role. And this turf is completely different. The Eagles are fast on this turf. That plays a role. Not having Kelsey there plays a role. But listen, Cam Jurgens done a great job. Can he be healthy? Yeah, that's the question. Can he be healthy? Can, Landon Dickerson be healthy? Because you want to run the tush push. And I'll add one other thing. And number 26 in the backfield, and he's pretty darn special. And Saquon's been a blessing for this team.
How is James Bradbury viewed in Philly?
I think they're surprised that he's still on the team. How's that? Isn't that crazy?
Well, is he a goat, like, and not in the good way,
no,
or is he just like, man,
because
this poor bastard? It's not fair what happened to him.
I think how they viewed James Bradbury was that was a ridiculous call to call in a game like that in the final minute and a half. He was terrible last year, terrible. So I think the Eagles fans moved on because Bradbury handled it really well afterwards, took responsibility and everything. He was just really bad last year, like really bad. And I think people are surprised he's still on the roster. He hasn't played. And if he's on the field on Sunday, that means something really bad has happened with that Eagles secondary.
Is there a feeling, though, that you're finally going to get to see the end of that Super Bowl that we were sort of all denied 2 years ago?
Yeah, and the problem is that I don't know if Philly has the stomach to go through it, and I think it's going to happen that Mahomes is going to have the ball with 5 minutes to go, and it's going to be a one-score game. Now, the difference is Vic Fangio is the DC and not Jonathan Gannon, and Vic Fangio has done an incredible job. He is basically tapped into the talent of Jalen Carter. He has made sure Nolan Smith has taken the next level, steps to the next level. He's made Zach Bond into a superstar. And they hit, man. They really hit. And you guys could appreciate that with your Legion of Boom. This team is always around the football, and they are constantly trying to force a fumble, or they're going to make sure you're going to pay for it. And they tackle really well. And that's something we didn't see a couple years ago. And I'll add one other thing. This is the best Eagles defense since the Buddy Ryan, Bud Carson days. You're going back to like the late 80s, early 90s.
Wow. Were you even born then? Were you even born in the 80s?
Are you kidding me? That's where I fell in love with him. Hey, Brock, I turned 50 in a month. Okay?
No.
Kevin,
That's a lie.
Before you jumped on and you were hugging and dapping and broing everybody, we were saying you haven't aged. Do you have great skin genetics? Do you use skin care products? How have you not aged?
My dad is 85 and doesn't have a wrinkle. So my wife is Irish Italian and cusses me to this day. So no, I just drink plenty of water, man. I drink water, and I have one little clarifying lotion that old girlfriend told me to use like 25 years ago, and those are the only two things I do. I drink plenty of water. I work out 5-6 times a week because I have an 8-year-old daughter. And I've got 2 sons who keep me in check at 12 and 10, and I don't want them to beat me in basketball when they're 18 years old. So I got to make sure I grind every day. And I'm not being corny, guys. I also got a wife who's in the gym every day. And listen, I got to make sure I hold my end of the bargain.
Yep. You and Salk, very similar. Sounds
yes, very. Thank you, Brock. I appreciate that. It's very nice of you. If they win, okay, if the Eagles win, who will get the lion's share of the credit?
Wow. I think Saquon. He's been that good, guys. He's perfect for this team. He is the leader in the clubhouse. He holds everybody together. He says everything right. He handles all of the stuff. I think he reminds everybody why they're there to win. I think Saquon gets the most credit, and it's well deserved.
I thought you were going to say Howie Roseman. We've been talking about him a ton.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. I thought you were talking about the team. Listen, Howie Roseman is on a run. He's on a heater, guys, right now, that every GM is jealous of. He has hit every single thing and has nailed it. And Howie will go down as an all-time executive. Like, if they were to win this one, an all-time executive. Because for him to build this team multiple times and differently, he's that good, man.
Yeah.
So is it that he's hit on a bunch of guys and just been good in the player recognition scouting phase of it, or is there something about the philosophy behind what he's doing that is making that work?
It's all of it. It's also how he works the cap. Like, he has found ways to work the cap. It's unbelievable how he's figured it all out. Like, he works magic. Like, think about it. You got Devontae and A.J. Brown 1 and 1A, and you work the cap the way he did. Like, it's unbelievable.
Have you had a chance in all these years to spend much time with him off the field or outside the studio?
Howie?
Yeah.
I got a funny story to talk about with Howie.
Nice. We got
So
time.
I was really critical of Howie on the back end of the Chip Kelly era.
Whoops.
Like, really critical, right? And they come back and win. Like, I'm vocally critical. Then they come back and win it all. I see Howie like a month later, and boy, Howie had a hell of a lot of fun with me. Like, a hell of a lot of fun. And I told him, I was like, you deserve it, man. You deserve everything. You give me the business, I said, because you could talk your talk. And, I actually loved it, and I appreciated it, man. He was into it, and that's great. Now, I saw Howie a couple of years ago, the Eagles season opener in Detroit. I took my two boys, and Howie was giving my two boys the business. And, hey, how come you don't have this jersey? How come you don't have this jersey? How come your dad hasn't bought you this? How come your dad hasn't bought you that? So, like, he was having fun with me. And so, yeah, this is how we do it, man. You give each other the business. You praise them when they deserve it. You call them out when they deserve it. I think he respects that. But you know what? In the end, Howie Roseman has the last laugh on all of us.
Our last thing, and it's funny to go through almost 15 minutes here without mentioning the quarterback of the team, but I feel like we should. Jalen Hurts is what? Who is he?
He is the perfect quarterback in this system. Think about it. Best offensive line in all of football. They run first. He can run and pass. I think he's the best quarterback in this system, and that's the thing that plays a role. Yeah, that's the thing that plays a role.
Do you wish that they had traded him for Russell Wilson the way they wanted to?
No.
Just checking. I just wanted to make sure. I wasn't sure how you felt about that these days.
No.
All right, man.
No.
Well, we appreciate
Kev.
this. Are you hanging with famous people in New Orleans? What kind of famous people have we seen?
No, just former athletes. I was trying to talk to Brian Dawkins, but you guys are more important.
Oh,
even
that's
though
nice.
B-Doc is my guy. That's how much I care about you two.
Wow, that is very impressive.
No, you just run into like guys that you've seen in the past, former ESPNers, current ESPNers, former athletes. I've seen a couple of I stopped by the Philly ESPN radio guys that I talk to every week. It's good to catch up and talk to them, and it's cool. Like Radio Row has gotten crazier. I was on Radio Row 25 years ago, and it was a completely different, like, hey, this is something. This is kind of cool. Now it's like, it's an entire convention center, and everywhere you turn, somebody's got a microphone on. Some YouTube channel and that channel.
It's a
this
total
channel.
band of
It's like,
misfits.
wait,
It's like a Star
where are
Wars
you?
bar.
Like,
It's
it's
wackadoo.
crazy.
Unbelievable.
It's like it's the cantina.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Well, Kev, you're one of our favorites. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thanks for making a little bit of time for us up in Seattle, and stay well. We'll talk soon.
you guys are the best, man. Be good.
All right, there you go. There is the great Kevin Nagandi. I really do love him. I've said this earlier, those years that I was doing a lot of fill-in stuff for ESPN Radio, and they started just at some point throwing TV guys on with me, and some of them were better than others. Nagandi, Adnan Virk, and Bram Weinstein were really the three that I connected with and just had a lot. And Linda Cohn. Those four were really the ones that I just really enjoyed working with and had a lot of fun with. So
Yep, sweet spirit that guy's got. And
Yeah,
he treats
that's a nice way of
everybody.
saying it.
Yeah, he just does. He got such a sweet spirit, and he just treats everybody so well. But you do feel and you do hear a little bit of that Philly fan, undercover. It's like
Kinda
my
like that.
producer, Bo Garrett.
Yep.
Right? It's the same. It's the same way. Like one of the kindest, sweetest guys. But when it comes to Philly sports, the Phillies, the Sixers, the Eagles, the Flyers,
a little different.
don't mess.
And then all the college basketball in that town as well. Let's do some Blue 88.
This is Brock and Salk's Blue 88.
Blue 88! Blue 88!
We take you to the field as Brock Ewart breaks down 3 football questions as only he can.
Now here's your hosts, Brock Heward and Mike Salk.
All right, we've been playing a lot of the Daniel Jeremiah sound, Brock, mostly for the number 18 pick and what they could do with it and, sort of the moving forward. But he did talk about Clint Kubiak. What'd you make of his Kubiak thoughts?
A little bit of what you just heard from Kevin Nagandi talking about Saquon and Jalen, and that is fit. That is knowing your system, knowing your style, and when you do, Salk, and you know thyself that well, you really fit the personnel. So, cut number 17, here he was, DJ, talking about how much Clint Kubiak knows his system.
Well, Clint Kubiak's well regarded and well respected around the league, and that's a family name that carries a lot of weight in the NFL. And he knows exactly what that offense is and what it looks like, and knows it inside and out. So they will have a system, a system that's been tried and true. So I totally get and understand that hire, and I think it's a solid hire.
Yeah, it's a pendulum swing. As I joined my friends in Tuscaloosa and Birmingham this week talking about Grubby going back to Alabama and linked with Kalen DeBoer and all the time on task. And because of that, in their system that they know so well together and know each other so well, they're going to be able to recruit and develop and differently than, I think the situation was here. Clint Kubiak knows exactly the kind of personnel he wants. And, that's when you get that blend. You were asking him about Howie Roseman. Is it more the personnel? Is it more? And it's like, no, it's personnel and it's personal. When you really do know your system. Pete would teach us that all the time.
Yep.
Right? A lot of these coaches fail because they don't really know who they are or have a conviction about the way they really personally want to do it. Clint Kubiak and the guys and the band he's bringing with them, they know exactly what they want, and that should help in the personnel end of things.
All right, question number 2.
That makes sense?
It does, yeah. So you had your non-epic poll yesterday about trading for Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
What did you, as you kind of saw the response, what was the negative opinion?
Yeah, we talked about this from the jump of the show, and I don't know if it was including you in it, in the fact that you're all in.
I was joking on that.
Yeah, I think it was honestly
Mostly.
more to do with being scarred from history. And then also, let's really use these assets. If there isn't an elite interior offensive lineman, that's something you haven't done yet, either in free agency or used major capital in the draft for. You did with Russell Okung. You did with Charles Cross. You did right there, right in the top 10, and you nailed both of those. So, if a Booker or one of these elite guys is there and you've traded that pick, well, I know DJ says on his grade sheet there's not much difference between 16 and 40, but there really usually is pretty significant difference with the top couple guards versus the next vast majority that all look alike and all have got a little bit of an issue. So I think that's where the majority of the concern was, is let's just make sure we have all the powder available to take advantage of the biggest weakness. It's not the end, it's not D-line. It is still the interior of that offensive line.
All right, question number 3. I'm curious the answer to this one, Brock. How are Jake Heaps, Michael Vick, and Deshaun Jackson now connected?
Yeah, they're all very similar guys, right? You say those names.
I don't know
it's
whether
like the
that's
three
the
amigos.
term I would use.
No, Deshaun, Vick, Jake Heaps. I mean, just kind of makes sense.
Okay.
They are all now head coaches. Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson are head coaches at the collegiate level, smaller school level. And Jake Heaps yesterday, big headline, head coach at Legend High School out in Parker, Colorado, where he makes home.
Wow.
So Jake is taking that step. I think he's still going to be doing his Elite 11. He's still going to be working with Russell Wilson. But kind of cool because a little bit like Kevin Nagandi, remember, Jake's got a couple boys. And, as the son of a high school football coach and how cool that was for me and my upbringing to be around it, I think that plays a little bit of a role. Jake's been wanted. Jake's been approached. There have been high schools in Washington that have tried to lure him back, and he said no, and he said no. He said yes to this one. And, oh, by the way, he's also got a 5-star transfer quarterback from Georgia that's coming back to Colorado that will be slinging the ball for him. So, yeah, he knows. Got to have that QB, so got to have that QB.
He's a smart dude.
So kudos to Jake.
I think Jake would be
step.
great at that, by the way. I think Jake would be a really phenomenal high school football coach. So that's really cool for a guy who absolutely deserves it. That is today's Blue 88.
Can we do one more bonus one here? Just a bonus Blue 89. Give me cut number. This one we meant to get to yesterday. We didn't. I heard Bump and Stacy talking about it. Gerald McCoy, the old defensive lineman. This just kind of blew my wires.
This is the Michael Bennett thing?
Yes.
All right.
Gerald McCoy was on with Kevin Clark at the Super Bowl from the Ringer.
Yes.
Okay.
And I have never heard this.
Okay. This is a little bizarre. This is Gerald McCoy telling a story about how in primetime games he would call friends, other players around the league, including one here, that he knew.
Mike Bennett called me on primetime games. He played for Seattle. I played with the Bucs. We didn't play many primetime games, but they did. He would call me at halftime in the locker room. You're not supposed to do that. No. Michael Bennett called me at halftime of the Super Bowl with the Patriots and asked me, what do you see? What do I need to do? What am I doing? And I told him, hey, they can't block you here. You need to go here, make sure you're doing this, and this. And he went and did it. He called me on a Thursday night, and I said, bro, if you line up here and do this, you have 5 sacks today. And he went and got 5 sacks. You want to talk about a bad dude? Michael Bennett. He's the baddest dude I've ever been around.
Do you think he's the one who told Bennett to try to fight everybody at the end of that Super Bowl?
Did Bennett ever have 5 sacks in a game?
I don't think so.
I don't think he did.
I think Lefko looked it up.
Yeah.
I think it was 3.5.
I mean, that's pretty good.
He figured that was the game McCoy was talking about. That was a Thursday night.
It's not quite 5, but that's all right.
And I don't know if Gerald McCoy is watching a TV copy going, oh, yeah, play the 3. Oh, yeah.
Maybe he is, though.
Use this swim move here. Get out to the 5.
Maybe
he's saying something that the coaches are not saying.
Before that story, McCoy was talking about how Bennett would show up to practice with no shoes on and be like, this is just so everyone knows that I'm not doing anything today. And he's like, and then he would go get all these sacks.
Yeah. No, that part of that's
that
true.
Part
and
checks
he's
out.
Very eccentric. And I don't doubt the fact that he called him. And that is where I'm like, when? You literally, by the time you get into the locker room at halftime, you have a chance to go to the bathroom. If you have a number 2, that's it. And then you got to run back on the field. Your coaches get together.
How often does that happen? I mean, I would feel like that's not something that
I've never seen it. I've never, ever seen it. And honestly, just the time constraints of it, it's not like you have 20 minutes. Now, the Super Bowl, a little different.
Right.
Super Bowl, you may have actually a little more time.
Even a primetime game is a little longer, no? No, it's the same?
No, same, yeah. Like you get your orange slice, you go to the bathroom, you hear from your coach, and you're right back out. It's like a pit stop.
I never get tired of them. Never get tired of Michael Bennett stories.
Yep.
All right, more. We've got some entries for Here's the Thing today.
It was a little weak this
Was it weak?
Yeah.
Well, it's weak in terms
Got a
of
few.
quantity.
Yes.
But quality looked pretty good. Would you agree? Weak quantity, pretty good quality. It's next on Brock and Salk.
4 down territory. Going inside the game with former Cougs and Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
What are some Super Bowl stats and facts that you found that intrigue you?
Just messing around, looking at numbers and stuff, and here are some fun ones for you. How much do you think the average ticket was for the Super Bowl last year?
$2,500.
$7,500.
Oh my God!
Crazy.
Rich people problems.
4 down territory. Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
Is founder and CEO. High five! Yeah.
Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man. High five!
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Ooh, up top, bike shop. Yeah.
It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messelthorpe, Dubois.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years!
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five!
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, welcome to Staples. Hi, I hear Staples can print it all for my business. Oh, if you can think it, Staples can print it and will beat any print quote. Oh, great. I'm thinking new brochures and yard signs. No problem. I'm thinking calendars, t-shirts, and pens. Totally. I'm thinking Staples is the place for printing. I thought you might think that.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Get pumped for the big game sales event at the West Hills Autoplex February 7th through the 9th. Come be a winner at the big game sales event February 7th through the 9th. Get your football, gift card, and more at the West Hills Autoplex. Auto Center Way, exit Highway 3, Bremerton.
Ever since I was a global superstar, The Weeknd presents a never-before-seen all-new show. After Hours Till Dawn Stadium Tour. Live in Seattle, performing songs from the brand new album, Hurry Up Tomorrow, and all the hits. With Playboy Cardi and special guest Mike Dean, Lumen Field, Saturday, July 12th. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at theweekend.com/tour.
Hi, I'm Tyler, and I want to share my awesome experience we just had with Window Nation. When we bought our home in Edmonds, Washington, we noticed some of the windows needed to be replaced. Our living room was cold and drafty in the winter, and it was hot and stale in the summer. But after a lot of research and a few bids, we chose Window Nation to replace our windows. From the first consultation to the final installation, their team was professional, friendly, and incredibly knowledgeable. Window Nation offered a wide variety of high-quality, energy-efficient windows that not only look great, but we immediately noticed the difference in the comfort of our home. And the best part was the installation process. The crew arrived on time, worked efficiently, and they left our home spotless. It's the best home improvement project we've ever done.
Call Window Nation today and see the difference. Right now, save 60% on all windows and pay nothing for 2 years. Visit windownation.com or call 866-90NATION to schedule your free in-home estimate and get 60% off. That's windownation.com.
The Seattle Golf Show, Friday, February 7th and Saturday the 8th at the Seattle Convention Center has 100 exhibits. Buy tickets online and get up to 4 rounds of golf and get free balls while they last at the door. Shop the huge Putts golf sale. Kids under 12 are free. VIP tickets at seattlegolfshow.com.
Have you considered surgery or even joint replacement? Hey, it's Dave Wyman, and before you make that decision, see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Why? Because he gives it to you straight. Dr. Wagner said my right knee needs replacement, and I appreciate his honesty and expertise. My left knee is fine right now, but the minute it isn't, I'm heading to Dr. Wagner for his expert opinion. I want to avoid another surgery, and I've heard so many patients rave about results from their 90-minute outpatient stem cell procedure with Dr. Wagner. He's a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience and has performed more than 20,000 stem cell procedures using a person's own stem cells to regenerate cartilage in their own joints. People with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, are back doing what they enjoy without pain and without surgery. Whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Get in the freaking auto!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
Brock Heward and Matt Marcus. Sorry about just Mike.
Heward, not exactly Joe Cap there in the pocket.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Heward and Mike Salk.
All right, 8 o'clock here, Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710. Hopefully everyone is safe out there with the driving in the snow this morning. It is Man, when we were coming in at 5 o'clock or so, it was wet and it was snowing and it was slippery. It was a messy morning here in Seattle. So hopefully it's the conditions are improving out there.
Did you put your socks on?
My snow socks? No,
Yeah,
I have them though. They're ready to go. So I'm going over
Save those for this weekend.
I'm going to Winthrop, Brock. Show ends in 2 hours. Going to run home, pick up Cecily, throw everything in the car, and then we're heading east. Trying to decide: are we going to do Stevens Pass, and you only have to do one pass?
That's right.
Or do we do Snoqualmie Pass and then Blewett Pass? You got to do 2 passes.
Yeah, familiar. Very familiar.
But you get kind of the a little bigger roads, more services.
Sure.
What do you
think?
think?
Just check with WashDOT. I think they're.
I asked
good.
Sully actually. I go straight to Sully.
Yeah, or the traffic czar. Either way. Yeah.
Over at night.
And make sure you throw in the snow socks.
They're already in the trunk.
Oh, good.
They're ready to go.
You're ready to roll.
Yeah.
You're good.
You think so?
Good. Yeah, and I know one of these. Here's the thing: is about Washington drivers.
Yes.
So,
and there are some problems with them, as we mentioned earlier this week. The whole Fogel deal. Let's see what you guys have for us today.
Brock Heward doesn't just hate one kid.
I am so disappointed in Michael Salk.
You don't know what you're talking about. You're mindless. Love you, bye.
It's time for Brock and Salk's Here's the Thing.
Okay, here's the thing.
All right, so remember, you got to download the app so that you can leave us messages for Here's the Thing. Good quality, not great quantity, it sounds like.
I don't see it. Is there a female voice? Did I miss that?
I don't see any.
Gosh, I'm just...
Why are the ladies are intimidated?
Just off my game.
Perhaps. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is.
All right.
We got a huge listening audience of women, and yet they refuse to leave us messages for Here's the
They
Thing.
don't want to make fun of you.
That doesn't sound like the ladies that listen to our show.
I would be
It's not been my experience.
Because I like making fun of you.
Yeah. Seriously. All right, well, let's start with John.
Oh, my God. He is so right. Drivers in the Pacific Northwest never miss a chance to slow down.
Fear of green lights, man.
Yes.
Oh, this light's green. I better slow it down. Got to be real nervous.
It might get to yellow.
Yeah, it's going to get to yellow if you keep decelerating.
This morning, I was telling you guys, I mean, I get driving carefully in the snow. You should maybe slow down a little because it was slick this morning. But coming from a place where it snowed a lot, there's also a point where you're more likely to get stuck than you are to get into a wreck. Like, come on, let's go a little faster.
Gotta do a little something. Were you using more? You've learned to drive in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
Did you use the gear shift to brake a little bit, not just the brakes?
I didn't this morning, but I have had to do that.
I did coming down some hills. It was.
See, I didn't have many hills, so I was lucky that.
I just got to get down here to Eastlake from the highway. That's like the one concern is just coming down here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's always a little.
I have had a couple, a couple wild wire rides.
Oh, I bet.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's Levi.
Here's the thing. I've heard Mike talk about this multiple times about people that he hangs out with that are like parents of his kids' friends at school or whatever that are just baffled at the idea that he has a sports talk show for like 4 hours. What type of pretentious, just like caviar eating a-holes do you hang out with? Oh my God. You talk about sports for 4 hours? How do you do that? Is it like the footy football thing and like what's the one with the sphere that gets thrown into the glove? Do you talk about the other one with the feet? And no, you don't talk about that. Okay. You're able to do that for 4 hours. How amazing. Wow.
You know the scene in Major League where he follows Renee Russo up to her house and their old people are having their dinner party and the woman's like, oh, the Indians, are they still a team? Like, that's basically who I'm talking about. Yeah, we got uniforms and everything, he says.
That's good. That's a good call.
Yeah, that started. Remember, I told this story a few months ago where it was a friend of a friend, but yeah, they were like, whoa, people talk about sports for 4 hours every day on the radio? Like, yeah, we got uniforms and everything.
That was good.
A lot of the parents
Who was that? Levi? Is that Levi?
That was Levi.
Good job.
Some of the hockey parents didn't realize that the Super Bowl was on Sunday. It was like, yeah, I'm going to leave a little early. Got to get back for the Super Bowl. Like, oh, yes, you're right. The Super Bowl. I didn't even realize. Like, really? Really? It's a Super Bowl.
463-643. Here we go.
Here's Troy.
Here's the thing. It's okay to call it the Shanahan-Kubiak tree. Because if we're going to say it's the Andy Reid tree, we should really be saying it's the Bill Walsh, Mike Holmgren, Andy Reid tree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point, Troy.
Yeah, I think it's just that Reed's sort of the only one left, right, of the sort of originators there.
Yeah.
There is a Shanahan. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's the I think it's the Shanahan tree.
Yes.
I think that's sort of how it's called. How it's been.
I don't think there's enough of the Kubiak tree.
No,
right?
not enough to call
he's
it
a significant branch on the Shanahan tree.
Sure, but he's not the trunk.
No,
not
yet.
So Curtis, there's a Curtis here who did an update. Is this right, to an Old Boy Howdy song? Do you remember a Howdy Jimmy Graham song? It must have been a Who's Jimmy?
Ooh.
I think, if I'm not mistaken.
That did not sell very well.
No, here's Curtis with an update.
Here's the thing. As a Boy Howdy super fan, I wanted to resurrect one of his old Jimmy Graham songs. Here we go. 6'7", 265, tore his knee on a dive. No time to sleep, he's revived. Nothing stands in his way. I trade Max Unger again, take his plane for a spin. Dye my hair red so we'll be twins. Nothing stands in my way. Your Saints were boring. Drew Brees, I was snoring. Seahawks now are soaring. He's amazing, we love Jimmy. I used to hate you, and this is crazy. Now he's a Seahawk, so call him Jimmy. It's hard to guard you with the safety. He's built like Xerxes, so call him Jimmy. All right, there you go.
Wow.
There you have it.
Thanks.
Did he remember all the words of it?
Or maybe he wrote them down? I don't know.
Now I do remember that. That started to ring a little bit of a bell. That started to ring a
Remember when that song was huge?
Good job, Curtis.
That was the
But
biggest
why?
song on Earth for a while.
Also, why did we need a redone Jimmy Graham song? Why not make a new one? Or
Boy Howdy. Maybe they knew Boy Howdy was in the building last night.
Howdy was here on Thursday, and he brought bread from his wife's bake shop.
Oh my gosh.
Dear, it is the best bread I've ever had.
So good. It even impressed Shannon, and she's the best baker I know.
Boy
It's unbelievable.
Howdy Bakery, correct?
Bake shop? Bake house.
Boy Howdy Bakehouse.
Brock, I'm telling you, the chocolate sourdough bread is one of the best things I've ever eaten. It's unbelievable.
Ever.
Phenomenal.
chocolate chip cookies.
Phenomenally good.
That's what I'm talking
And as usual, let's close out with Danny.
Hey there, my name is Patrick McCombs here. Some people say I sound like, well, Kermit the Frog, but I guess I just don't hear it. So let's say I get a banjo and start singing the Rainbow Connection. Why are there so many songs about rainbows? What's on the other side? Well, I guess that's not a great example. I guess I hear it now. Honestly, I just wanted to come on this show because I was worried about the big game. And to be honest, I wanted to stay away from Andy Reid. Oh, God, here he comes. Flurgan McFlurgan Blurgan. What in the Flurgan Blurgan are you blurgan in here? Sorry, Coach, I didn't mean to. I just was thinking that popcorn blurgan, shrimp, blurgan, flurgan, herga blurgan. Didn't even touch your meatloaf. Maybe it was Travis Kelce. Oh, wait, here he comes right now. Herga de blurgan, flurgan. Well, there you have it, Coach. It was in your pocket the whole time. Guess that means I gotta hop out of here. Bye, everyone.
Wow.
Danny's impressions.
That was a wild,
It was
wild
Skeletor
ride.
last week.
Yeah.
That was a wild ride.
That was a wild ride.
Wow.
There's a lot going on there that I'm going to need some time to process.
I don't know if you were sober for that one.
All right. Well, that's Here's the Thing for this week. Danny closing it out.
Can Danny be Seattle's Frank Caliendo or
he
something
sort of
like
feels that way, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good opportunity to remind everybody to please download our app, Seattle Sports app, and you too can leave us silly messages like the ones you just heard, and we'll play them Thursdays at 8 o'clock. All right, coming up in 20, we'll go to Kansas City, talk to Carrington Harrison, and maybe he'll do Muppet impressions. Who knows? It's After Everything You Need to Know next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Seahawks have made some moves
Weekdays 2 to 7.
A new quarterback coach in Andrew Janoko, and then offensive line coach John Benton. Both coached with Kubiak in New Orleans last year. Janoko was the quarterback coach in Minnesota for him as well.
Offensive linemen appreciate him and think that, he's a good play caller. And then one of the things that they did that just stood out to me was they spread it out and they ran the ball.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax. They know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I've always said, the car sales in the 1980s and 1990s, earned the rep that we have today. The concerns that consumers have because of what has happened in our industry in the past, they're warranted. It's our job to show them that that's not how business is done anymore, right? It's very different business. It's much more transparent. There's much more information that's available to people. And we're much more customer focused than I think the car industry was, 20, 30 years ago. I'm more focused on providing good customer service and relationships because I think if you take care of people, money will always come. So I think just the philosophy and the focus for us has changed, where I was constantly chasing a paycheck and now I'm just constantly trying to take care of customers and employees because I know if I do that, then my paycheck will take care of itself.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Make 2025 your season and experience Seahawks football like never before. Take game day to the next level with premium hospitality, exclusive perks, and unbeatable views at Lumen Field. 2025 full season suites are available now. Perfect for celebrating big moments, hosting clients, or enjoying the game with family and friends. Visit Seahawks.com/suites. To learn more, that's Seahawks.com/suites.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
It's time to go all in at Toyota of Kirkland. All in on the largest savings opportunities on the largest inventory of Tacomas, Tundras, Prius, and the BZ4X. The incredible team at Toyota of Kirkland is all in on your car buying experience. They'll set you up with a test drive and you can take that car home on the same day. Come on down to Toyota of Kirkland and get all in on the best deals with the best inventory. Check out their wonderful showroom today or go all in online at toyotaofkirkland.com.
O'Brien. Coming to the Emerald Queen Casino Event Center, Thursday night, March 13th. It's Keith Sweat. The legendary R&B artist Keith Sweat. Get your tickets while they last at emeraldqueen.com. Don't miss Keith Sweat, March 13th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. 21 and older, need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
Are you looking at diversification and stability with your investment portfolio, especially with the volatility right now in the stock market? Hi, I'm Scott Riereka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years. We've had 0 investor losses and have averaged double-digit returns since inception. Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given market conditions. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Legacy's Northwest Fund also accepts IRA accounts as well. Find out why over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Get in touch with us today. Legacy's Northwest Fund returning 9% has limited opening for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit legacyg.com. That's legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Really appreciated Justin Hollander yesterday on with Bump and Stacy, doing a great job of being accountable for some of the problems the team has had while also giving a positive vision for where he sees them going.
We need to score more runs this year. That's a fact. We need to be more consistent day to day. In my conversations and Jerry's conversations with Dan and Edgar, the night-to-night consistency is something that they're really focused on. Sometimes that will come as a result of the little things like moving runners, putting a ball in play, stealing a base. Sometimes that'll be hitting more 3-run homers. But we definitely need to put more pressure on teams offensively. We feel like we have a team that is capable of doing it. You know, I don't know if we're going to lead the free world in offense like we did over the last 6 weeks of the season. I'm pretty certain we'll be better than we were for the first 4 months of the season. We were just bad.
Yeah, when they went 7-2-2 in their final 11 series of the season, Salk, when they really got it going, and Robles was obviously the straw that stirred that drink in ways that are not going to be sustainable, but he was phenomenal. Julio was a difference maker. A bunch of the guys jumped aboard there. You know what you avoided? Those 1-run, 2-run, 2-run, 1-run, 2-run, 0 runs, 1 run.
Just found ways to score runs.
Yes.
And so, again, a vision for this team having more success this year has to involve that. He also went through what the infield will look like.
Luke Raley's going to play a lot of first base this year. Solano will also play a lot of first base this year. I think first crack at the everyday second base job will be Dylan Moore. Ryan Bliss will mix in. Leo Rivas will mix in. We'll see some Cole Young in spring training this year at both second and short. JP will play short. I'm really looking for a bounce back from JP this year. Obviously, he didn't have the kind of year that he'd hoped to have. And then at third, Jorge will play a lot of third this year. I mentioned we brought Polo back last week. Giving him the 6-7 weeks of time to prepare at third in spring training, we thought was really valuable, as opposed to asking him to bounce between positions or learn something on the fly during the regular season.
I will say there's something in there that's a little concerning.
A lot of Dylan Moore. Because
well,
you know what? He's one of these veterans.
Pretty concerning.
So he's been a veteran that's played a lot of baseball at T-Mobile that hasn't gotten better. It's really bad. His home splits for years now are really
well, and now
really,
you're going to start
really
asking
bad.
him to play more against right-hander. There's some challenges laden there. The other one for me, though, is just Jorge Polanco's arm combined with a first base combination of Luke Raley, who's an outfielder, and Donovan Solano, who's a second baseman.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little, I think, something to note and watch for over the course of the year.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
That being said, I just want to come back to it again. I thought Justin's ability to really
be transparent and critical, yet also positive.
Yes, that. That's exactly what I was going to say. Mm-hmm. There was a real sincerity for explaining the vision for the team in a positive way, and I don't think anybody begrudges a GM for having a positive view of his own team. He should have a positive view. Otherwise, what did you do?
I mean, you just heard Kevin Gandhi, right? Howie Roseman kept receipts.
Right.
You know, like you're going to be hard on us.
Absolutely. And I think that stuff is very fair. But I really do appreciate the way Justin approached it yesterday and thought he did a great job. And Bum and Stacy did a really good job with the interview as well. We spoke to DJ, Daniel Jeremiah, yesterday morning, and he had thoughts on the number 18 pick. In his mock draft, he's got a gigantic defensive tackle, Kenneth Grant from Michigan, but there are other options. He mentioned Jackson Dart, if you want to go there, at number 18. Didn't think it would necessarily be a bad idea. And then there's the big fella, Myles Garrett. Could you use that pick as part of a deal?
To me, Myles Garrett, I think, has four elite years ahead of him and is a complete difference maker. So, and especially if I can get that done with this year's one and next year's one, and then a player, one of the guys that you mentioned, the whole host of different options you could choose from there, I would do that tomorrow. To me, I think that would make a major difference for this team. It's a push. I can say, okay, well, do you want to save resources to eventually upgrade the quarterback position if you do want to get, a little bit better option there? But I just think where their roster is right now, they're going to be kind of a no man's land for the next handful of years in terms of being able to get that done. So I'm all for making a push.
Do it tomorrow. Build up that roster tomorrow. The Seahawks news out that Leonard Williams had some contract stuff moved around.
Restructuring.
Very natural. I think John Schneider would tell you that they build these things in all the time to give them some of that cap flexibility. Would it be for Myles Garrett? Probably for an Ernest Jones and a Charles Cross would be my expectation before that. But, cap space, powder, always a good thing. Dry powder, always a good thing to have on hand.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
A month away from the NHL trade deadline, Brock, and that usually sees quite a bit of movement. The Kraken are going to need to get it going in a hurry if they don't want to be automatic sellers. They are 9 points out as of last night from playoff spot. I guess I didn't look at the results from last night, but as of last night, it was 9 points. And unfortunately, though, remember, you get points for wins, and they've played 2 extra games. So that 9 points could pretty easily turn into 13.
It kind of feels like a lot.
It kind of feels like a lot.
Ahead of them.
Yeah, there's 4 between them and the playoffs. So you better get hot right now, or you're probably selling again. And this is where, again, maybe I've been a little critical of the way the team has been built in the last few years, but this is another part of it. 11 of their 18 regular skaters have some sort of no move clause. That's an outrageous amount. I was reading one kind of back and forth yesterday, and one guy's like, yeah, they've been handing these out like Tic Tacs, and the other said, well, maybe that's the only way to get players to sign in Seattle, but man, that feels like it's putting you in a pretty tough spot heading into the deadline. And of course, they all mention the Kraken's need for stars. They got Toronto tonight. They got stars, plenty of them, and they are just 1 point out of first place.
Salk, you seen all these stars move in the NBA, bro?
I saw Jimmy Butler moved.
Yeah, stars.
Him I know. He went from Miami to Golden State.
Yeah. Wow.
You know where he was before that?
I just said Miami.
Well, even before Miami.
Chicago.
Yeah, there was one stop after that.
I knew he was in Chicago. I was going to say that.
Philly.
I didn't know that. Was he good when he was in Philly?
He's always good, but
bit of an enigma.
He thought a lot of those guys on that team did not work very hard, so he didn't like it. I mean,
doesn't everybody think that?
He's wired pretty different, where he's just got this crazy drive. And then, yeah, he didn't love guys like Markelle Fultz, I'm pretty sure, because that was back when
who can blame him? I would assume he's going to like. I assume he's going to like Steph.
Oh, you would have to think.
Two late 30-somethings trying to.
I don't think anyone thinks Steph doesn't work hard enough.
One more ring.
That guy works incessantly.
Pretty hard not to like Steph Curry.
And that guy you made up in Oklahoma City? What about him?
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Made up.
SGA, leading the league in scoring.
Made up. Never heard of him. Let's move it along. It's everything you need to know. Quarter past every hour here in the Brock and Salk Show. A little bit later, I don't know if we'll do this at 8:45 or 9, kind of depending on time. Hall of Fame, Brock, will come out tonight. Up to 5 new Hall of Famers. There's at least 5 on the list, so I can't imagine they wouldn't go with the full 5. You could probably make a case for 7, 8, 9 guys on the list. I actually thought it was pretty easy to winnow it down to 5 myself, but we'll discuss. Before we do it, though, let's go to Kansas City and figure out how they're handling all the national hate. We'll talk to our buddy Carrington next. It's Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy.
We're going to talk about whether or not the Hawks should be one of the many teams taking a swing at Myles Garrett, a statement considering Garrett's history that is very ironic.
We know where this team needs the most help. It's with the offensive line. And if the acquisition of Myles Garrett jacks up your process when it comes to getting a veteran offensive lineman, I say don't do it. And I don't think they're going to do it. That would be a want purchase, not a need purchase.
If the Seahawks had the #1 defense in football last year, do you think they would have gone to a Super Bowl? I don't.
No.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app.
All right, it's Mike Salk here as we get ready for the big game. You may be thinking about the big spread. No, not betting. I mean the food, right? Ribs, cheesesteak from Kansas City, from Philly, and then your go-to chips, dips, crock pots, all of it, right? People just eat a ton this Sunday. Well, if I told you you could still eat delicious food and lose weight, how would you feel about that? My guess is you'd love it, and it's true. You can do it with the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic plans. Worked for me. Brock was just talking about how I look slimmer and trimmer, and it's true. Cut down a little bit after New Year's by eating healthy, quality, tasty, real food. That's right. None of the pills, injections, no surgery, no box package fake food, no counting calories. The thing just works, man. It's great recipes with food that you buy at the grocery store. It's how I lost 35 pounds in 8 weeks. Get in touch with Dr. Coogan and Eastside Weight Loss Clinic because they have helped over 4,000 people, including me, lose up to a pound a day, 35 total in my case. All it takes is a 15-minute phone call. Just do it today, maybe while you're on the way to the grocery store to pick up food for the weekend. Go to eastsideweightlossclinic.com. That's eastsideweightlossclinic.com. Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, accurate auto body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, accurate auto body.
For many of us, it's happening. Your hair is thinning, your crown is disappearing. Hair loss had me feeling like I was losing my identity altogether. Well, I've got some good news. It's a simple one-day treatment that worked for me. The Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. It starts growing new hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly memberships. Those can help retain what you have. But what if you want your own natural hair in specific areas like I did? You decide how much, how thick, and where. From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to the world-class leading doctors like Dr. Parango, it's not a maybe your hair will grow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts, call 425-449-8185. Advanced Hair is the winner of the 425 Business of the Year, and they are the team that I personally recommend. That's 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Bring on the sunshine with a trip to see your Seattle Mariners. Come to sunny and warm Peoria, Arizona for another great year of spring training baseball. There's no better time to wind up at the Peoria Sports Complex where you can see all your favorite Mariners up close. Spring training in Peoria has plenty of sunshine, warm temperatures, and the best seats in baseball. It's family fun for all ages. Book your trip today. Support your Seattle Mariners in Arizona for another exciting spring training season. Get your tickets at PeoriaBaseball.com.
Get pumped for the big game sales event at the West Hills Autoplex February 7th through the 9th. Test drive and receive a $10 Amazon gift card. Purchase a vehicle and receive a 65-inch 4K Samsung TV. Play our tailgate toss and receive up to an additional $500 off your vehicle purchase. Plus, enter to win a Traeger Pro Series grill. Come be a winner at the big game sales event. February 7th through the 9th. Get your football, gift card, and more at the West Hills Autoplex. Auto Center Way, exit Highway 3, Bremerton.
the noon hour of the Bump and Stacy Show is powered every day by the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Go to pendergastlaw.com.
I'm attorney Rob Iddens, proud Marine Corps veteran and owner of Warrior Injury Law. We help all types of injury victims like Sean, who was rear-ended in a car accident.
They're just easy to work with. They're fast. I like the fact that he had military service. I can see a lot of Marine in Rob. He's very in charge, really gets things done. But I didn't have to do anything. He offered me a settlement, had a number in my head, was nearly double that. I would refer absolutely anybody to Rob.
If you've been injured, call us at 253-WARRIOR. Warrior Injury Law. Battle tested.
Pennies!
Over 200,000 people were displaced by the recent Southern California fires. The road to recovery is slow, but your generosity is making a difference. G. Scott here. Together with your donations, Safeway and Albertsons were able to raise $5 million to help with food, shelters, and financial assistance. Organizations like the Pasadena Community Foundation, Pasadena Humane Society, Red Cross, and Salvation Army will benefit. My friends at Safeway ask me to thank you for your generosity and support.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, HIMS can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We're going to go to Kansas City here in a moment, Brock. And I've got, as I said, my... Just looking at this is the list, by the way, of Hall of Famers, potential Hall of Famers for this year. Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Willie Anderson, Maxie Bond, Jari Evans, Antonio Gates. Oh, man, I kind of left that one off, and that's a mistake. Ralph Hay, Mike Holmgren, Torrey Holt, Luke Kuechly, Eli Manning, Sterling Sharp, Steve Smith, Terrell Suggs, Fred Taylor, Jim Chirer, Adam Vinatieri, Reggie Wayne, Darren Woodson, Marshall Yanda. There's like 10 guys on that list that I think you could make an argument are Hall of Famers.
Yep.
Man.
Yep. I think there's 1, 2, 3, like 3 or 4 just no-brainers.
Yeah, and
no-brainers.
is
Antonio Gates is one.
I know, and I left him out. I think I might need to go back and change that.
I was surprised seeing your list. No
you know
Antonio
what?
Gates?
Honestly, as I read it this morning, I think I just
your glasses.
I was, but I think I just didn't see it. I think I just didn't. So I'm going to have to take somebody off of this list.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, the other guys are all Hall of Famers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a good group, man.
That's a Hall of Fame.
Really
I have no doubt about any of the 5 guys that I mentioned here or that I have here.
Yeah, it's a pretty good group.
It just gets complicated, Brock. I need Clayton arguing on behalf of one of these guys to really sell it for me so that I know, kind of how to handle this.
Sando does that. You want to reach out to Sando? He's taking that reign.
We can't. I think he's busy. I think he can't do it with us.
Fine, whatever.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of Hall of Famers that I know I'm going to be leaving off this list, but I don't see how to do it. I got a thought here that says that on my way to Winthrop today, I should actually not take Blewett, but go all the way to Vantage and then kind of take the river north. That might take a little longer, but less snow and just sort of safer.
I don't know if I've ever done that. Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that. I think the great Kyle Brown has probably done that.
Yeah, Kyle's a big Vantage guy.
Yeah, you need to call Kyle. After the show, before you do your final plan, you just got to reach out to Kyle.
Okay.
Because that's his neck of the woods. All of his journeys over there to obviously Pullman and the Palouse and everything down south, but he's done Cheyenne a lot too. Yeah, you got to reach out to him.
You're making this complicated, Brock. You're making it harder and harder for me. So
great.
We'll see what this ends up looking like if people have thoughts. In the meantime, we'll go to Kansas City.
Greatest
I can't believe Carrington Harrison, C-Dot, our guy on 610 in KC, isn't in New Orleans. C-Dot, what is going on? Why are you at home?
Spoiled.
I don't know. I definitely wanted to go to New Orleans. I mean, I don't know who wouldn't take a free trip to New Orleans, but you know what? That just wasn't in God's plan for me. I am happy that, I am happy that you guys can take a break from free agency and the NFL draft to talk about the playoffs. So I am very happy to be on you guys' show.
Oh, is that a shot?
Wow.
Is that you trying to take a shot? Was that a shot?
Jeez, we're here to talk about how much everybody loves the Chiefs around the country.
No, nobody loves the Chiefs. You guys don't have Mike. You know me for too long. You don't have to lie to me. No one likes the Chiefs.
No, they're the cute little underdogs. No, Karen, they're the underdogs.
How
They
are
got
you
the
guys
chip on the
handling
shoulder.
national hate?
They're in the Super Bowl for the 5th time in 6 years. They're handling it great.
No, how are
Nobody
you handling
cares
it?
about any of that.
How are you handling it?
I mean, I would say for me personally and career-wise, I mean, I guess other than not going to the Super Bowl, it's actually been going very well.
That's funny.
Is it fair to say that Kansas City, I don't know, Kansas City is a funny city, Salk. I've been there a bunch over the last couple of years because the Jayhawks have gotten good. Obviously, laying there on my travels out to the Little Apple, one of my favorite destinations in college football. I've been to Kansas City a bunch.
Damon
over the
had
last,
a lot of success there.
Damon lived outside in Overland Park. It's an interesting, Kansas City is an interesting little city because I don't know if I would quantify it. You would know this better. You live there. Do you guys think of yourselves as Midwest nice?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Kansas City, this is the thing I've noticed when I've gone to other places, maybe specifically the East Coast is, in Kansas City, you will randomly have a conversation with somebody at the grocery store, and by the end, they will show you pictures of their wife, their dog, their kids. You will feel like you are part of their family. That never happens on the coast. You are never in line in New York getting a slice of pizza and someone's going to tell you about their dog. That's what makes the Midwest different than other parts of the country.
Yeah, okay, I think that's fair. We call it, what do you call it, Salk? The freeze up here?
The Seattle freeze. Yeah, people are very nice here until, you want to hang out. And they're like, I don't want to be part of that. So then let me ask you this. So for years now, Kansas City is would you call it a mid-sized city? Is that the right description?
Yeah, that's a very fair way of, I guess, describing it. And I think, kind of to what we were talking about in the very beginning, I kind of think part of the reason that there is so much backlash for the Chiefs is, this wasn't supposed to happen. New England has the crown for 20 years, and then everybody was thinking that now everybody else could start winning Super Bowls. And then one team just started instantly winning all the Super Bowls again, and I think people are tired of it.
All right, well, I want to get to that story in a moment. Before I do, let me ask you this, since you said it's a mid-sized city. What is it like having global superstars in a mid-sized city? Because it's generally not where they're found, but Mahomes and obviously Travis Kelce and the whole Taylor Swift effect. How does that play in a small to mid-sized city like Kansas City?
It's interesting because I would say that maybe Kansas City was sort of prepared for it once Patrick happened and then everything that's happened with Taylor. I would say, it kind of changed. But you are right. There are very few cities that are maybe synonymous with a person. I remember going to Indianapolis for the first time and seeing that Peyton Manning had a children's hospital. And it's wow, if you've been to Indianapolis, you know that Peyton Manning played for the Indianapolis Colts. That Kansas City's like that in a lot of ways. I would say Kansas City really isn't a place that bothers you. You are liable to see Mahomes out for dinner. You're liable to see, I guess 2 years ago, you would see Travis Kelce out. You don't see him out anymore, obviously, for a lot of different reasons. But Kansas City isn't really a place that really bothers people. But I will say, things have just been turned up ever since Travis started dating Taylor Swift. Whenever you turn on the news, you will find out that they ate dinner at some popular restaurant, and then that becomes the it place that everybody wants to eat the next week. So that's maybe where I think we've seen, the biggest effect. And, it just moves everything. Everybody wants a Mahomes jersey. Everybody wants a Kelce jersey. It's just people are much more full of, I guess, civic pride is maybe the way to say it, since they've been so good the last 5 to 7 years.
Does she buy a house there? Does she buy Kansas City? What happens when she decides she wants to hang out there?
She lives in Kansas City now at this point. She's just always here. She's always around. Whenever she got off tour, she was here basically the entire time. She actually ended up just doing an impromptu visit at a children's hospital where, it was just her, no news cameras. Travis was not there, and she just spent 3 hours at the local children's hospital. She's done a really good job of, becoming a part of the community and just going to local restaurants, really being friendly towards people. I maybe have met 10 to 15 people that know. I know 10 to 15 people that have met Taylor. I've never heard a bad story about her. She's done a really, really good job of being part of this community.
Is he getting? Hold on, are they getting engaged?
You're just hogging this interview.
Well, I didn't know whether you were going to stay. And Brock, ask about them getting married. Come on.
Yeah, do they really love each other? Are they going to take that next step? Is he going to, do the honorable thing?
My kids
and marry her?
want them to get engaged so badly after the Super Bowl. It's hard to talk to them about it.
I'm just laughing at the word honorable. That just really made me laugh, the honorable thing. I will say...
Make an honest woman of her, for God's sakes. Get on bended
woman.
knee, and yes, geez.
Both of them just seem very, very happy. Like, I don't know if they're getting married or if they're not getting married. I don't know all the inner workings of their relationship, but they are always out and about in town, and they seem very happy, which normally that leads to eventually it's just like, hey, maybe we should do this. Maybe we should get married.
It was another Kansas City media star by the name of Jeff Passan that came on these airwaves some years ago and called a certain fan base out here spoiled, that we were just spoiled. Is your fan base, is it taking on kind of that cape of just being spoiled, or is there an appreciation for this historic run they're on?
I actually would say that you know what? Spoiled could have happened if all of this kind of referee, everything is fixed hadn't happened. Where I do think now it's become kind of tribal in a sense where it sounds crazy to think because the Chiefs have been so successful, but it does kind of feel like Kansas City against everybody mentality, where no one wants to see Kansas City win. Everybody thinks the league is in our pocket. Everybody thinks it's rigged. We want to show them. And, there is a video where after the Chiefs won the last Super Bowl, Patrick is on the stage talking about a three-peat. Hey, Travis, come back. Chris Jones, come back. That people have really rallied around that. And, I would say after the hit against Will Anderson, I would say that the number one story in football has been about the officiating, which is crazy because, one team is going to the first ever or having a chance at a three-peat. Saquon Barkley is 29 yards away from having the most rushing yards that any player has ever had in a single season in the NFL. And we had the commissioner of the NFL basically say that, there's no problem with the officiating. So spoiled isn't a term I would use. I would say that Kansas City has really rallied around this team and just really protected them from, I think, a lot of unfair criticisms regarding the officiating.
So how far are they? How far is Mahomes from Brady? How far is Andy Reid from Belichick?
That's a great question. I would say that Reid is probably closer to Belichick just because Reid has done it in multiple places, and Reid has gone to a Super Bowl without Patrick Mahomes, where I think that changes it. I actually think that Patrick's maybe a little bit further away from Tom than people want to admit. So Patrick Mahomes has played in 20 postseason games, and the Chiefs have won 17 of them, a pretty incredible number. But we also have to factor in that in 3 of those losses, 2 of them happened to Tom Brady. Tom Brady won in the AFC Championship game in Arrowhead, and then they met head up in the Super Bowl, and Tampa Bay won 31-9. So I actually think, in the LeBron and Jordan debate, it'd be a lot different if LeBron had beat Jordan in the finals. People would use that as the trump card, where I think that's going to be the trump card for Brady. But my big point this week on the show is Patrick has to do something that nobody has ever done before. And this three-peat would be it. Tom did almost everything you can do as a football player. He went undefeated. He won 7 Super Bowls, greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. He has done everything. If Patrick can say, I'm the only quarterback to ever win 3 straight Super Bowls, that is building a resume of being the greatest quarterback of all time.
You want to give us your PD's number? We'll talk. We got to get you down there. What day is today? Thursday? We can still get you down there for all the activities, Friday, Saturday. Can we get you down there? This is ridiculous. You're too good. You're too good to not be down there.
I would love to go down there. I love New Orleans. I have a rule when I go to New Orleans that I'm only gonna eat food that comes out of the water. So I want all the crab, I want all the oysters, I want all the alligator, crocodile, whatever it is, I want it.
How about anything that's maybe been distilled or deep fried? There's some decent distilled spirits there, and they got beignets. I don't know why you got to say no to all that stuff. Hey, from a Seattle perspective, hold on, I got to ask you from a Seattle perspective.
Yeah, go ahead.
Trey Smith going to be available to the general public this offseason, or do the Chiefs find a way to keep him?
Mike, this is funny because I've probably done 4 of these, and I would say there are 4 other cities that think that Trey Smith is coming there.
Sure.
Chicago is, they're like, oh, he's coming here. Carolina thinks, there's a lot of teams that think that. I actually think that he is probably the best free agent on the market. He just checks almost every single box. He's a winner. He's been healthy. He is a physical player that can help you in pass block and run block. So I love Trey Smith. He makes a lot of sense for any team in the league. it's kind of difficult because you got Bolton on one side and then you got Trey Smith on the other side of the ball. Both of their contracts are ending. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep both of them. What I actually think is going to happen is I actually think Trey Smith is coming back, and then you just and you reach an extension with Joe Thuney, and you can get his cap number lower for 1 year. You then pick up Trey Smith's deal. His number is obviously going to be lower for the first season as well, and then you can do something at right tackle after next year with Jawan Taylor. So if I had to guess, maybe look into the future for their offensive line, I actually think that he's coming back.
Sunday night, Chiefs going to do something never done before in the history of this league when it's all said and done?
This is where I am with this game. I've seen every Chiefs game over the last 7 years or so, however long it's been. Whenever they are healthy, they just don't lose. This game would be a lot different to me in terms of picking it, where if, Chris Jones was battling an ankle injury or Travis Kelce was limited as a participant in practice or, Mahomes last year dealing with the ankle injury. This team has only played 2 games since Christmas. They are 100% healthy, and I just haven't seen many teams over the last 5-6 years beat them when they're healthy. So I like Kansas City to win this game.
It is funny, though. You kind of look at this, and we talked to Kevin Nagandi earlier, who's a big Philly guy, and he made the point of, Kansas. This is an interesting matchup of the better quarterback, the better coach against the better everything else, right? I mean, roster-wise, wouldn't you, if you were just choosing blind, wouldn't you take the Eagles at almost every other position? It's just that the quarterback and coach are so great that they may overcome that.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess maybe where the question earlier about Kansas City and how I think they've really been protective of this team is that has been the message for the last 3 Super Bowls. That is how people felt about San Francisco last season with Christian McCaffrey, the offensive line, with Trent Williams, the defense, et cetera.
Yeah.
And that's also how people felt about Philadelphia the first time that these two teams played each other. Just with this Kansas City team, I've seen it enough is they will always figure out a way. Sometimes I don't know how they'll figure out a way, but they will always figure it out, and they will always get exactly what they need. So this game could be a shootout. This game could be played in the 30s. Then Patrick Mahomes will figure out a way to score 34 points. If this game turns into a low-scoring defensive battle, Patrick will make one more play than Jalen Hurts to win this game. They just always figure out a way to win. And this team has checked every box the last 5 years. There's one box left to check. Can you be the only team in history to win 3 straight Super Bowls? And if you're telling me in a game that's a coin flip, I got Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes on one side, and I got Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni on the other one, I will take Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and feel really good about it.
If they get another phantom holding call on James Bradbury, I'm sure they'll waltz right into another Super Bowl.
Mike, I don't know why we had to do this. We've had a great conversation.
For real.
I've been happy to
I don't
come
even
on
care.
here.
I just like messing with you. I don't even care. I just like messing with you. I'm not even into the whole officiating thing. I just like seeing you get fired up. Hey, love you, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming on. We always love to, anytime we had an excuse to talk about Kansas City, we love chatting with you. So enjoy Sunday, and we'll talk soon, man.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me today.
There you go. C-Dot, Carrington Harrison, 6'10", in Kansas City. For my money, one of the most talented, awesome, great dude radio hosts in the country.
Got a lot of joy, man, and a lot to celebrate there. And I'll say this, too.
You do say, Brock, you always say that it's a weird cantina, right? And you heard some of it from Nagandi.
Uh-huh.
There are a lot of weird people in our business.
Yes.
There's some really good people, too.
There are.
There really are. And he's on that list of just good people who's worked incredibly hard. Yep. When Danny Parkins left that show, they thought he was toast, and he's done it by himself for the last, 4 years or whatever, and we haven't missed a beat. He's a really talented, good dude.
Yeah, I would say to his point there as well, this is the NFL, and you get to this stage, not just because of one or two guys or a coach. My old little playground game, right, that we used to do quite often, our early years of radio, probably wasn't great radios. We'd go through the 2 rosters. Okay, which guard you taking, tackle, center? You go through all of them. I still like to do that at the end of my week when I look at my board, and it's been a pretty good gauge through the years. This one's 21-1, Ohio State versus Northwestern players, or this one's 18-3. In this matchup, everybody's going to say Philly's a better roster. But Kansas City got 2 or 3 elite offensive linemen, including Trey Smith, including Creed Humphrey, including Tooney. Like those are elite players. Kelsey is still on the biggest stage an elite tight end, an elite quarterback. Chris Jones is one of the most elite defensive linemen. Bolton, he mentioned, and Tranquil, the linebackers. I don't know. They're just as good or better than Philly's guys. Their safety. Like, this is not 18-4. This is probably closer to, overall, it's probably 14-8. You take 14 of the Eagles players or 13-9. It is not overwhelming. Okay. And then the quarterback makes, obviously, the most gigantic difference of all. Just elevating all those other weaker pieces. Very few QBs can do that.
You may say that. You may be right, Brock, about individuals maybe making it not overwhelming. But are you sure that's true if you start looking at position groups? I think it starts to get a little bit more overwhelming if you're looking at position groups.
Yeah, if Kansas City did not have a plus D line
they
room,
do. But it's not as plus as Philly's. Right? So you're taking Philly. You're going to take the Philly linebackers probably right now.
I don't know about that. Tranquil and Bolton are really
Did I say they weren't good?
Players.
But the other guys like Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, but the other guy got injured, and you got a backup in there. So, no, I think I'm taking Kansas City's linebackers.
How about a secondary?
You'll take Philly's, but they're young.
Yeah,
you got 2 rookies on a stage. They've never been
they've
in
been
their life.
really, really, really good. Wide
O-line,
receivers.
by the way, O-line's a push. O-line's 3-2, 2-3. It is a push.
Wide receiver, you're going to take Philly. Running backs, you're going to take Philly.
Yep.
It's funny. I actually think tight end is kind of a push. It's just that Kelsey's got this incredible, thing with
that connection with Mahomes.
Right. It pushes that over the top. No, I think that's fair to say.
Is overwhelming. And then the coaching staff and Spagnuolo, who knows exactly how to play his cards and been there again and
but,
again.
I mean, Vic Fangio's pretty good himself.
But he's never won one. And this guy's been there again and again and again and again, and continuity and all that time together. Yeah, they're they're a beast, and now they're fully healthy too.
Yeah.
Something they've not been on this stage a couple of last times. Yeah.
Texter 253 says you should have that dude on more often. I just enjoyed his enthusiasm about every angle in that conversation. Awesome. You're absolutely right. That's what makes him great. Super enthusiastic, opinionated, funny. Just great call. Thank you.
And it is funny that a Kansas City Midwest team can generate this much
hate.
Animosity.
Well, it's also just bizarre that Taylor Swift is essentially living in Kansas City.
That's true, too.
Isn't that weird?
You think her and Passon hang out? What do you think?
I would think, yeah. I mean, isn't Jeff one of the top 3 celebrities in Kansas City?
You would think so. He's a big deal.
I don't know. I will say, I don't want to. I know that people get very angry when Taylor Swift comes anywhere near a football conversation, which I think is absurd, but whatever. I was a little touched by his comments that she's just sort of gone under the radar and tried to embrace it and I'll go to his hospital and hang out and not bring the whole posse or anything like that.
I know Sierra's not at that level of stardom, but Sierra's a big time star, and same thing with her.
She did that here.
She did.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That she ever encountered at training camp and anywhere she went, was very, very.
Never heard
very
a nasty thing about her ever. Exactly. And our limited dealings with her, she was delightful. Just incredibly friendly, normal. I mean, she had an army of 7 people who were helping her kids work their way around the. But okay, she has a tremendous amount of money.
Yes.
She was very normal. Yeah, she was very likable, and it's kind of cool to hear that.
And I would say,
way.
okay, so I know this is going to be a tough one for you and more to answer. More likable, Mahomes or Brady? Because Mahomes has done something Brady didn't do. In this whole conversation, can he catch him? Tom morphed a little bit. Tom had some years there where he became that kind of QB. He became that kind of star. Mahomes has been able to keep that shucks kind of Midwest.
No, it's not Mahomes. It's because of his wife and brother.
It really does hurt it.
Yeah, I'm serious.
They're
His
so
wife
obnoxious.
and brother are so freaking obnoxious that it ruins the Mahomes thing for me.
I try to put it aside.
It's hard.
I try and put it aside and
They
say
suck.
They absolutely. I really like Patrick.
They're horrendous.
No, they're awful.
They're absolutely horrendous people.
I like Patrick
to the point
Mahomes
where it
himself.
makes you question him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. He seems likable.
He hangs
but-
out with these two all the time, and they're awful.
No, are you sure he's with his brother all the time?
Yes. He's always
Why
out.
is
His
his
brother's
brother
doing that
acting so
stupid TikTok dance. His
You know
wife
what?
is a nightmare. They're awful.
I think his brother's been around less the last year or two.
Thank
and I
God.
think it's because of all this.
Do you think Taylor sent them packing?
Well,
It was
also
like, hey,
because
look,
his brother
dude.
got into trouble.
Yeah, that too. but
I'm going to guess Taylor sat them down and was like, hey, dude, you want to be a star? Ditch these two. You want to be an actual star? You got to get away from these two. They're crazy. You can't have it around.
It's his wife, Salk, crying out loud.
Can't be around it. Can't do it. Can't be around it. Totally unacceptable.
He at least got away from his brother.
Can't do it. Those guys they totally ruined the whole thing. All right, somehow you got to pick 5, Brock, and there's at least 10 on this list. It's next on Brock and Salk.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
I am strangely optimistic. Players get better, and I think that they're doing the best that they can.
So you're happy with you're pleasantly surprised by the offseason?
I'm not happy. I think I lowered my expectations. I'm not being sarcastic about that. Just going into the offseason, I was like, I don't think that they're going to spend any money. I really don't. And
you were
guess
right.
What? I'm not disappointed. I won't say I'm right. I mean, I'll just say that I'm not disappointed.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
So I formed Davis Law Group about 30 years ago, and I would get, the same questions from people about what to do in the case of an accident. Do you need a lawyer? To the point where I decided that I would at least write a book which would answer the common questions that I would receive as a lawyer. Once I wrote my first book, it proved to be hugely popular. I decided to write then a series of books in different accident cases so that we could really teach people about their rights, how to protect them, and how to decide on whether they need a lawyer and what lawyer to hire. I've found in my career that having a client that is educated and knowledgeable about their particular type of case really helps the client and also usually ends up making the case or the claim more successful. To get your free copy of any of my Washington accident books, visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
You're losing your hair and you want a simple solution that works, and you want the best. Modern technology, top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need world-class Dr. Perungo and his team at Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair has completely redefined hair restoration, from the experience itself to the unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair. Get your hair back with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment that begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. And get this, they were recently crowned 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, call 425-449-8185, 425-449-8185. If you qualify, get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185. Refine your hairline with a team that's redefined hair restoration. AdvancedHair.com.
It is that time of year, homeowners. You start thinking about that roof with all of the rain and probably snow coming, and you wonder, do I need a new roof? Do I need a repair? Or even what is happening up there? Well, I was thinking the same thing, so I had Asset Roofing come out and do a full inspection for me, and they were extremely professional. The communication was great every step of the way, and the best part is they sent me a detailed report with pictures showing me what they saw and gave me the recommendations. And what you really need is an expert on your side, and Asset Roofing is on my side. Allow them to work for you too, especially if your home is surrounded by trees like mine is, which leads to the moss growth that was happening. Your roof is supposed to last upwards of 20 years, so a yearly inspection is a very small price to pay for adding to the lifespan of your roof, saving you big money down the road and giving you peace of mind. Find out more at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Does your yard need shade, privacy, or a little brightening up? Look no further than Big Trees. I'm Nancy Penrose, owner of Big Trees in Snohomish. At our 30-acre location, there are thousands of trees to choose from and knowledgeable staff, including a board-certified master arborist, to help you find exactly what you're looking for. Visit the nursery and learn more about Big Trees at BigTreeSupply.com.
Beauty, privacy, instantly. Big Trees.
Get pumped for the big game sales event at the West Hills Autoplex February 7th through the 9th. Test drive and receive a $10 Amazon gift card. Purchase a vehicle and receive a 65-inch 4K Samsung TV. Play our tailgate toss and receive up to an additional $500 off your vehicle purchase. Plus, enter to win a Traeger Pro Series grill. Come be a winner at the big game sales event February 7th through the 9th. Get your football, gift card, and more at the West Hills Autoplex. Auto Center Way, exit Highway 3, Bremerton.
Hi, welcome to Staples.
Staples. Hi, I hear Staples can print it all for my business. Oh, if you can think it, Staples can print it and will beat any print quote. Oh, great. I'm thinking new brochures and yard signs? No problem. I'm thinking calendars, t-shirts, and pens. Totally. I'm thinking Staples is the place for printing. I thought you might think that.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song.
April breeze, give me my biggest tax refund, please. You, me, and a lifetime accuracy guarantee.
And now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be
Reeling in the refund.
limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Give me a freaking auto!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
Brock Ewert is my hero.
Jay Buhner just punched me in the kidney.
We're going to accuse you of manager.
Doesn't really work that way, Sherm. This is a show that has my name on it.
It kind of does, though.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Ewert and Mike Salk.
A bunch of people jumping in to say, yeah, met Sierra Children's one year when I worked there. Extremely nice, very sweet, very wholesome. Came in one Christmas and just sang Christmas carols to the kiddos. That's pretty cool to hear. Someone else saying this is the best Salk take this decade. That Mahomes is worse than Brady because of his wife and brother.
Yeah. Now, is it just the wife's politics?
No. What?
No, it was long before that. It was when the wife and the brother were doing TikToks every 5 seconds, dancing at the games.
I had to ask. I just had to ask.
Brady's politics, I don't think, align with mine either. I mean, I don't know.
I just had to ask.
No,
Okay.
this isn't a political thing.
All right.
Brittany
Jeez.
Mahomes, after that 13 seconds game, when the Bills lost to the Chiefs, she was up in that suite just like dumping champagne on the fans below her as if they wanted champagne.
She's like
all over
Marie
them.
Antoinette. She's awful, dude. She really is bad. I don't even think she understands her
I
politics.
remember her being on the set
I think
after one of
Taylor
the
knows
Super
how
Bowls he
to
won.
be very, very diplomatic.
NFL Network was trying to talk to him after one of the Super Bowls that he won, and she was
Ugh.
on the set, and she was trying to reposition her Chiefs purse so everyone could see it. Like,
Tough
I never
take for
saw
me.
Giselle in any of that after a game.
Of course, Giselle didn't need to. Giselle was, a superstar in her own right.
Brittany's like tweeting at players
Ugh, she's
during the
awful.
game about cheap shots and refs.
And she's not half as bad as the brother.
Okay.
The brother's an atrocity.
And then the
He's like a
dad's in
true
jail, right?
atrocity.
Isn't Dad in jail too?
I don't. Is he?
Yes.
The relief
DUIs.
pitcher?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Multiple.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. So.
All right, you got
He's
all
an
these
overcomer.
names. You
He's
want
an
these
overcomer.
names, Brock? These are the names that are eligible. I gave you all of them earlier, and then I'll give you my 5, but I think I'm going to have to get one out in order to... I'm struggling.
Yep.
All right, Eric Allen, tremendous player. Cornerback, right?
Mm-hmm. Played against him. Like him. Good dude.
Yeah.
Great dude.
I don't know whether he makes it with this group. I think he was a good enough player to be a Hall of Famer.
We don't have time to go through
all right,
all
I'm sorry.
15 of them. Just give me your 5.
Jared Allen, Hall of Famer.
That is a no-brainer. You were just reading a stat the other day
100%.
about where he ranked in stats. And,
Second all-time in his 20s and a dominant player.
and an
Number
absolute
one
game
all-time
record,
in
game
safeties.
changer, no matter where he was. Yes, Jared Allen.
All right.
Hall of Famer.
T. Suggs, automatic, no
Absolutely.
doubt, Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
This shouldn't even be a question.
Yep.
Terrell Suggs is in the Hall of Fame.
100%.
Okay, those two were the most
No,
obvious
there's
to
one
me.
more. There is one more. Absolutely most
I don't
obvious,
even
the
think it's
best to ever
even
do it.
like Adam Vinatieri. It's
Yes.
not close. That guy's a Hall of Famer.
He's the best to ever do it.
And it's
in the
not close.
biggest moments in all of the rings
Okay.
and all the titles. Those three.
Those three should be
are
automatic.
Absolute have to.
Okay,
Yes.
so the group that could be the last two.
Mm-hmm.
I did not put Antonio Gates. I did not put Marshall Yanda, both great players.
Mm-hmm.
I did not put Darren Woodson, unbelievable player. I did not put Reggie Wayne, phenomenal player.
Yep.
Steve Smith, great player. Sterling Sharp, great player. Eli Manning, great player. The two I put in because I thought they were the dominant players at their position in their time were Torrey Holt and Luke Kuechly.
Yeah.
That would be my 5. Probably in that order. Not quite. I would probably go Jared Allen, T. Suggs, Adam Vinatieri, Luke Kuechly, Torrey Holt. That would be my 5.
Yeah, the challenge I have, did Kuechly do it long enough? That's the challenge that I think Luke Kuechly has, because so many of the linebackers that that get in there just did it for so long.
But he's doing it in sort of a different generation. I mean, sort of like right at the cross point.
That's why Bobby will be a no-brainer first time.
He did do it longer.
He's doing it longer, right? He's doing it in just.
It is
adding
crazy.
all-pro
Kuechly
and
now is
all-pro
only
and
33
all-pro.
years old.
That's right. And obviously concussion's a big part of that, and he stepped away from the game as a number of guys, Calvin Johnson and others.
He only did it for 8 years in the league.
Correct.
But during those 8 years, Brock, he was a Pro Bowler every single year, defensive rookie, he was the Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay.
All Pro 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 8 years, and second team the other 2.
Yeah.
Guys, that's a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
He was unbelievably good.
And helped elevate, obviously, the Panthers and get to a Super Bowl, and Cam's the MVP, but he's the heartbeat.
He's the
of it.
team MVP.
Okay. So so my 3 for 2 spots. My 3 for 2 spots are Kuechly, Gates, and Torrey Holt.
Yeah. By the way, I have no problems with that. I think I'm with you too. I think we see it the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Torrey Holt is a Hall of Famer, man. I'm sorry. I know there's been a debate. I don't see how.
But there's a reason. There's a reason, right? That because receivers, there's a lot of them that have been unbelievably productive. Tight ends. How many Antonio Gates have played in this league? How many years did Antonio Gates play? Like 18?
Forever.
I mean, he did it forever. And, kind of set the bar, he and Tony Gonzalez, for what you see now for the Travis Kelce's and those guys. I mean,
there's no doubt. He did it for 16 years.
16
in the
years.
NFL.
How many Pro Bowls? How many All-Pros?
3 All-Pro first teams plus 2 more second teams and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Pro Bowls.
Yeah.
Now, you said he did it for a really long time. No Pro Bowls after he turned 31. So age 32 through 38, not that he was a bad player during those years.
I think some other younger guys kind of came in, and I don't know if that's Jimmy Graham, if that was Gonzalez, if that was Kelce.
No, because he was with the Chargers for most of that. Some of them, but look, and again, I don't want to diminish what he did.
Man. The production, the receptions, the yards, the touchdowns, he just and had to do it in San Diego for all those years, where they were not really appreciated.
Torrey Holt did it for 11 years, 10 of them with the Rams, 1 at the very end with Jacksonville, which I actually have no memory of whatsoever.
I don't remember that.
He was All-Pro once, second team one other time, and a Pro Bowler 2, 4, 6, 7 times out of 10 or 11.
Yep.
Unbelievable
My draft class,
player.
Love the dude. Unbelievable guy.
When you look at the
guy.
numbers.
8 straight 1,000-yard seasons.
Yeah, led the league in yards twice. He had a 19.9 yard per reception year, while leading the league with 1,635 yards.
I think the voices spoke, and the challenge for Torrey is the voices.
System?
Yeah, and they put in his running mate ahead of him.
Well, once his running mate's in, he's got to be in too. It's not like Isaac Bruce was better than Torrey Holt.
I think that's some of the challenge that,
I think that's
that my
insane.
buddy in Indianapolis is facing as well.
Yeah, Reggie Wayne, that's fair.
Yeah, that it was really Marvin's show, and you got to benefit from being the number 2.
I think that it was more Marvin's show than Isaac Bruce's show. Sorry. Isaac Bruce is a great player. That's not a shot.
Hall of Famer.
But he's not as good as Marvin. And Torrey Holt is better than Reggie Wayne.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
And again, that's not a negative on either of the other 2 guys.
This is going to be as good a class as I can remember.
It's a really good class.
Yeah.
And by the way, Eli Manning is nowhere in that. I'm sorry. Just stop.
Not the first time around.
Sir, I mean, I would hope not. Eli Manning should not go in ahead of any of those 6.
Is Kyle Brown's best friend still the one knocking on the door?
The giant dude?
Is he still the one that gets to knock on the door?
I don't know. I think so.
Who, too, is bigger than the door?
Is there anybody else?
Literally, when they get to open the door, they see Shrek.
What is that guy's name?
Oh, my gosh. He takes up the whole space. His head.
He's huge.
He's bigger than life, and he sounds like a cartoon.
David Baker.
David Baker, the Hall
David
of Fame
Baker
maker.
Finch, isn't it?
David
or maybe
Baker,
just David Baker.
It's David Baker, the Hall of Fame maker, and his son Sam was a big fella at USC as well.
Is that true?
A cup of coffee in the NFL, but David is just. I hope he's around forever. He won't be, because those big guys don't last that
Stop
long.
it.
But man, it's just a reality. Same thing for me.
Here's a little David Baker.
I've really seen Randy mature as a man. and as a father and what he's doing.
Yeah, there's a little. Here's. It's always
Hey,
funny.
David Baker.
Hall of Famer Gil Brandt.
Mr. Baker.
Welcome to Canton, Ohio.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you've done for the game.
All right, that's enough on David Baker.
So neither of you guys have Marshall Yanda. I mean, I know it's not the flashy player, but man,
I put him in
he's
ahead of
not in this
Eli.
class.
Not in this class.
I mean, 7-time All-Pro, man.
Which of those 6 guys would you put him in ahead of? I think that's the challenge that you have there. It's not a knock on him. Great player. Yeah. Which of the 6 guys Brock and I just discussed
if this
would
were
you
the
put him in ahead
Baseball
of?
Hall of Fame, does the Baseball Hall of Fame have to have a limited number? They don't, right?
No.
It's just percentage
Get to
of votes.
80%.
Yeah, if this is a Baseball Hall of Fame vote, he's in. He's going to get 80% of the votes. But this is, you're limited by size of class.
Yeah.
And it's
Fair
just, this is a tough group of peers to try to knock off.
I would agree. Mike Holmgren is another conversation, as is obviously Eli Manning. Eric Allen is
Mike Shanahan. Did Mike Shanahan?
He's not on this list.
He did not.
No, he's not. Darren Woodson, I think, is a Hall of Famer. Reggie Wayne's got a real case for it. So, I mean, like, this is a really, really good group that there's a lot of potential for Hall of Famers there. All right. Thank you, David Baker. Appreciate that. All right. We'll come right back with everything you need to know. I got a couple different things I want to do by the end of the show. Do you want to take calls? Is that what you want to do? I think you do. It feels like you do.
Tomorrow, right? You don't get to talk to the people tomorrow. So
I think we're going to take some calls at 9:30. Just buckle up, everybody. We'll do it after everything you need to know next.
Knows the value of standing up for what's right. If you've been involved in a car crash, Just Cause Legal is here to fight for you with an aggressive team dedicated to securing the compensation you deserve. Just Cause Legal makes the process as painless as possible. Don't wait. Time is critical. Get the help needed today. Visit justcauselegal.com or call 253-859-8899 and meet your legal lifesavers. Just Cause Legal. Fighting for you.
All right, it's Mike Salk here from my friends at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. What are you doing this weekend? You know where you're watching the big game. Why not do it at Snoqualmie Casino? You can have all the fun that comes with watching a huge game like this one. And great food, too. Vista Prime Steaks and Seafood. Yup. Falls Buffet. Check. Prime Rib. Fresh pasta. Made-to-order stir-fry noodles, pizza, salad bar, dessert bar, the pies they make every day, the whole deal. Find out more at snocasino.com. It's still only 30 minutes from downtown. And yes, Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
We can be twinsies.
to
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com. Show the coupon at the pharmacy and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
You know, someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. So I actually went home and counted how many connected devices I own. It's more than a dozen. All to keep me connected to the good stuff. Streaming, gaming, all the interneting, you name it. Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. And that's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices. Hundreds, for real. And now through March 18th, get Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for a year with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add an unlimited mobile line. And ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with trade-in. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store and bank account. Taxes and fees extra after promo regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required. Reduce mobile speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds and actual internet speeds vary.
If you're looking for a new Mazda, go see our friends at Mazda of Everett. With over 790 new Mazdas in stock at 11409 Highway 99 in Everett, they have something for every budget and credit type. Save up to $3,970 on new Mazda Mazda CX-5s. Come meet the team and see why they've been Washington's largest Mazda dealer since 2015. Exceptional service and always their lowest prices. Visit in-store or online at MazdaofEverett.com today. MSRP for stock number 26315 is $30,585.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
The Big Seattle Boat Show ends this weekend, February 8th.
The Boat Show, the Boat Show, the Big Seattle Boat Show.
It's the West Coast's biggest boat show with big selection, big discounts, and big fun for everyone. The Big Seattle Boat Show. It's a big deal.
The Boat Show, the Boat Show. You're gonna cruise the boat show. You won't believe how cool it is, so bring the family.
Presented by Sundance Yachts and Port of Seattle. Details and discount tickets at seattleboatshow.com.
Start the year fresh with Washington Energy's New Year, New Home Sales event. Upgrade and save 15% on energy-efficient Bryant heating systems for your home. Keep cozy and safe this winter storm season with 15% off Honeywell whole home generators. Prepare for spring with 15% off beautiful Anderson windows and reliable Simonton doors. All on sale now for a limited time. It's the New Year, New Home Sales event with Washington Energy Services, bringing good energy to your home.
It's time to go all in at Toyota of Kirkland. All in on their commitment to quality, innovation, and durability that makes Toyota of Kirkland certified pre-owned and used vehicles the best in the market. When a product is made better, it lasts longer, and Toyota of Kirkland is the place to be to go all in on your next used vehicle for that reason. With a large inventory of certified pre-owned and used vehicles with incredible savings, why not visit their wonderful staff and beautiful showroom today at Toyota of Kirkland or online at toyotaofkirkland.com and go all in on your next car.
O'Brien. Recycling batteries at Pacific Power Batteries is a good idea. There are lots of different types and chemistries, so not everything is free. Our recycling destinations are legit, legal, and doing the right thing with spent batteries. Not everybody else out there does this. Last year, we recycled over 1.5 million pounds of lead-acid batteries and 154,000 pounds of computers and monitors. Oofda. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. Pacific Power Batteries recycling since 1985, before it was cool.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Well, let's start off talking Mariners, Brock. We spent a lot of time yesterday going through Jerry DiPoto's comments, really the last 2 days. And yesterday you had a different voice give some of the same thoughts, but in, I think, a different tone. Justin Hollander, general manager, joining Bump and Stacy, did a great job with that interview. And he talked about what they're doing and how he was responsible for some of the problems they've had.
We played terrible offense for the first 4 months of last year as a group. There were individual players who were better in stretches and worse in stretches. But as a group, we were just an unacceptably bad offense for the first 4 months of the season. And that's, if it starts with somebody's fault, it's probably mine. And our front office, we just did not play good enough and put enough pressure on teams. Even when we were 10 games up, we were doing it in ways that was more smoke and mirrors than was going to lead to long-term success.
He also went on to explain why they didn't make as many moves as people thought that they would.
I mean, it's definitely more quiet than normal for us. I think Jerry talked about it the other day. We sort of envisioned that it might be more quiet than normal, so I didn't think that totally took us by surprise.
He also said that they like their offense quite a bit after those first 4 months. John Morosi, though, joining Wyman and Bob, still not buying it.
The question becomes, for a team that was so offensively inconsistent and struck out so much, is it basically enough to say that the last month of the season, they scored the most runs in the American League for a month at the end, when Arozarena was there, when more of the team was healthy and productive? So they're basically saying Polanco's going to come back and be a better version of Polanco. We believe Garver and Haniger can be better. And then Solano, as kind of more of a contact-oriented player, fills the role that Turner had, or to a degree, if you want to say Rojas, Urias, others they let go, Haggerty. They've changed a few pieces, but this is not transformative change. If you were a Mariner fan in the early days of November saying this team needs fundamental change to be able to compete with the Astros in the American League West, if that was your belief, you obviously are very unfulfilled right now.
But they just don't believe that.
Right.
They just don't believe they need fundamental change.
No, not fundamental. I think they believed that they would have liked to have more impact. They would have liked the market to move a little more favorably.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, Lyle, by the way? I think I do. I know that the first base flurry of moves, there was a lot of activity there. But when I listened to Daniel Jeremiah say to us yesterday, as a Padre fan, I'm just hoping for Ty France. Like, the majority of the teams in the league did very little.
Right.
Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say, and it was a slower offseason, but if you're like the Padres, as an example, already have such a good team, you could argue they were as good as the Dodgers last year. They were a game away from winning, where a lot of people feel like the Mariners just needed additional help. But to answer your question, yes, like it has been a slower moving market.
You won 84 games, though.
Right.
I mean, you got to improve that by 10.
Right.
You got like 10 games you should be trying to add.
I don't think you could possibly say, and I know, Salk, you've reiterated this a bunch from Justin and Jerry and Dan and everybody. You can say we're a good team. I think, and they can fully believe that.
They are a good team.
But they can't say we're a great team.
I think it's very hard to say that today, that you've done anything to take yourself from good to great. I think that's very well said.
I think you can be a playoff team, but a World Series champion?
Pete Alonso could have helped with that. He signs back with the Mets. 2 years, $54 million, 10 of that coming with a signing bonus.
Here's the second thing you need to
We've
know.
been going through some of Daniel Jeremiah's comments about what to do with that 18 pick. We've discussed trading for Myles Garrett, and we'll do so in a few minutes with you guys on the phone. We've discussed using it on a quarterback, Jackson Dart, who would probably be available at number 18. His mock, though, was just this big defensive tackle, Kenneth Grant.
He's got as much ability as anybody in the draft. Like, he hasn't got it all together just yet. But it's just, there's not many people walking around planet Earth that are 340 pounds that can move like this kid can. So it's not all there yet. He hasn't all figured out. You're not gonna be getting year one what you're gonna be getting year three. You're drafting him for year three, which is another side story on where you want to get your team and where your roster. I was talking to somebody in the Eagles organization, and we were talking about the draft, and we were talking about this. How would you like this player versus that player? And he brought up the line and said, well, for us, we have so much depth on our roster that we really talk more about year two and year three with these guys versus how do we need him to plug in year one. Like, they're going to have a hard time getting their first-round picks on the field at most of these positions.
Kind of sounds like some of the elite college programs. So we got the portal, right? We take care of so many needs in the portal that these high school kids, we need them, and they're going to be the foundation, but they may be 2 or 3 years away from really contributing within our program.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
And a month away from the NHL trade deadline, we've kind of gone through this a few times. Just the one thing I saw yesterday that kind of is eye-opening. I mean, this team is 9 points out of the final playoff spot. And
so hockey is different than baseball. Baseball, that's earned, right? Many times your no trade is earned by a number of years of service. Hockey, to have 11 of their 18, you can tag in a contract that I got a no trade clause?
Well, in baseball, it's both, right? You can be a 10-5 guy. 10 years in the league, 5 with the same team, and you automatically
earn that.
Earn a no trade.
Or if you sign a mega deal, I guess you could,
Then they show up as a part of it.
Yeah.
In hockey, they're not uncommon, but 11 out of 18 of your skaters, that is a lot of guys that you can't move without their permission. And so
a lot of those guys that, back to our conversation, kind of where we are right now. We're good. They're good. Mariners are good. The Seahawks
this team
are
is
good.
not good.
No, some of these veteran players are good
But
pieces.
their team
they're
is
good
not good.
NHL players, but they're not great.
They don't have anyone great.
And yet they've got 11 of them with no trade clauses?
I think that's the challenge. Like, how did all of these guys, and the question is, maybe you do need to offer that in order to get guys to come to Seattle, right? It's a new franchise, et cetera. It's not exactly a hockey hotbed from an NHL perspective, looking at sort of the history of it, but
okay.
Tough spot to be in. They've got the Maple Leafs tonight. That's everything you need to know.
Are we doing Answer the Question Jerk as well?
No, we're not. We can't do them both. It's impossible to do both. It just can't be done. So I'm sorry. We can't do both. We can either take calls or we can do Answer the Question Jerk. Which would you want to do, Brock?
I'm kind of leaning toward Answer the Question
That doesn't
Jerk.
sound right.
I know.
Let's try again. Brock, let's try
Do you
again.
really want to do it?
You do 15 minutes of calls.
But if we do the 15 minutes of calls, trust me, it's too much to ask people to call and to ask them to do.
Well, 15 years ago,
it's not me.
He could have done both.
It's not a me
He
thing.
done both,
it's
but
not a
now.
me thing. It's our listeners. They're not smart enough. No, it's too hard. You're confusing the listener by asking them to use the same number for two totally different things.
Okay, fine.
So you can't do it.
You want to take calls? You know what?
I think we've got two topics that we need to take calls on.
Okay.
And so I'm going to open up the phones. It's sort of an open phone segment. So in theory, you could call about anything.
Are you going to play Fela Kuti?
No, it's inappropriate today, Brock. It's too snowy for Fela Kuti. It just doesn't work. That is warm weather only. I'm gonna open up the phone lines for anything, but really two topics. One, number 18 pick. Do you want to A, draft an offensive or defensive lineman? B, draft Jackson Dart? Or C, use it as part of a trade for Myles Garrett? 866-979-3776. With the 18 pick, offensive or defensive lineman, quarterback Jackson Dart, or use it as part of a trade to get Myles Garrett to come here and be an absolute game wrecker on the edge.
Okay. So
866-979-3776. The other, what did you make of the comments from Jerry DiPoto and then from Justin Hollander about the Mariners offseason? Simple question. What did you hear and what did you make of it? Do you believe it? Do you believe that this team could be pretty good? Could they be better than they were a year ago? Do you believe the idea that their offense was a lot better than it looked in the 4 months and that what you got in the last 2 months could be legit? 866-979-3776. Give me your thoughts either on that 18 pick and Myles Garrett or on the Mariners and what you heard from Jerry and Justin and the team leadership this week. 866-979-3776. You're next on Brock and Salk.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy.
We're going to talk about whether or not the Hawks should be one of the many teams taking a swing at Myles Garrett, a statement considering Garrett's history that is very ironic.
We know where this team needs the most help is with the offensive line. And if the acquisition of Myles Garrett jacks up your process when it comes to getting a veteran offensive lineman, I say don't do it. And I don't think they're going to do it. That would be a want purchase, not a need purchase.
If the Seahawks had the number one defense in football last year, do you think they would have gone to a Super Bowl? I don't.
No.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app.
A place where anything is possible and the fun never stops. At Silver Reef Casino Resort, you'll discover world-class dining, championship caliber golf, and so much more. Come join the fun and see why we've been consistently rated one of the region's top destinations. Visit silverreefcasino.com to book your stay and discover all the exciting events and promotions we have in store for you. Silver Reef Casino Resort, located off I-5, exit 260.
Find out more at silverreefcasino.com.
If you're injured in the state of Washington, here's what matters. Who represents you matters. The experience of their staff matters. Their investigation team and track record of success matters. Davis Law Group was founded in Seattle and has been winning cases for more than 30 years. We know Washington State, we know our courts, and we know how to deliver the highest level of client satisfaction. And that's what matters.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
12s. Already missing Seahawks football? Take the next step to becoming a Seahawks season ticket holder and sign up for the season ticket notification list. It's free to sign up and receive a priority number to save your spot in line. You'll receive updates on season ticket availability and more. Plus, unlock special offers and perks just for signing up. Visit Seahawks.com/tickets today. That's Seahawks.com/tickets.
You're free now. Free to fill your feed with impossibly chonky chonkers who chonk harder than you ever thought possible.
Cats, corgis, babies, baby penguins, baby pandas, chunky baby pandas.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things. Free to open a world of remote work and a portal into Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine, and then some. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Quantum Fiber, your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service in select locations only.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
The Hot Stove Show. Stay up to date on the Mariners offseason with Aaron Goldsmith, Gary Hill, and Shannon Dreyer.
Swing and a miss for strike 3.
Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. leading up to spring training.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request that complimentary design and estimate consultation today at 206-992-0364, 206-992-0364, or project ideas, explore photos at PCFgroup.com, PCFgroup.com.
Get pumped for the big game sales event at the West Hills Autoplex February 7th through the 9th. Test drive and receive a $10 Amazon gift card. Purchase a vehicle and receive a 65-inch 4K Samsung TV. Play our tailgate toss and receive up to an additional $500 off your vehicle purchase. Plus, enter to win a Traeger Pro Series grill. Come be a winner at the big game sales event February 7th through the 9th. Get your football, gift card, and more at the West Hills Autoplex. Auto Center Way, exit Highway 3, Bremerton.
Swedish Cyberknife has been serving the Pacific Northwest with innovative and compassionate care since 2006. Being able to precisely and accurately deliver radiation makes a difference in terms of controlling cancer and reducing the risk of side effects. The treatment is completed in only 5 sessions, lasting less than an hour. Patient surveys consistently give Swedish Cyberknife the highest of rankings. Swedish.org/cyberknife prostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
So weird. Every Friday we open up those phone lines for anything, and I'm always blown away by how many Mariner calls we get. Today, after, quite a bit of Mariner conversation throughout this week, phone lines full entirely of people wanting to talk Seahawks. And understandably, the Seahawk conversation, I think, is very interesting. What do you want to do? Brock had a good poll. Would you deal that first pick and maybe next year's number 1, and let's call it either Derek Hall or Boye Mafe, to get Myles Garrett, pay him a bunch of money, and have him just wreck shop on the defensive edge for the Seahawks for the next 5 years?
And by the way, that born out of not just a bathtub fantasy, but that was born out of Daniel Jeremiah saying he'd do that tomorrow. Like that's a guy that's got 4 years of elite playmaking in him.
Just don't say bathtub fantasy.
Yeah, that was the wrong word. Bathtub thoughts. Bathtub thinking.
Tub time? Just stick with tub time.
Yeah, we'll stick with tub time. Not bathtub fantasy.
Basically, it wasn't taken out of thin air. That was what DJ said.
That's right.
And so would you do that? I would think every Seahawks fan should at least have an opinion on that. 866-979-3776. We'll start going through some of these. And certainly it looks like there is one line open if you want to jump aboard. We'll start with Vernon and Yakima. Good morning, Vernon.
Hey, good morning. Top of the morning, gentlemen. How you guys today?
Doing great. Minors or majors over there? What do you like?
I'm going to have to go majors. I know minors is the landmark. I mean, it's on everybody's map.
All right. That's
but
fine.
Majors.
Well, you're wrong on that one. Let's see if your take is wrong. Go ahead, my friend.
Well, okay, better milkshake is at Majors. Ooh. My bad. Okay. So I would say I'm pro drafting quarterback Dart. I don't want to see a Jamal Adams 2.0 with bringing in Miles. I that's just my take. I don't know what how else we could do something with waiting another decade for a high draft pick on a quarterback.
Yeah. No, I think it's fair. And Jackson Dart, I mean, it's fair to have that opinion. I think, disagree with that. I know Salk disagrees with the Jamal Adams comp vehemently.
I really do.
They're really different guys.
And there's
with different track records.
Yeah, there's two major differences for me. One, the position is just different.
Yep.
It's just different. It's one thing trading that amount of capital away for a guy that plays that far away from the ball as a safety. And it's another doing it for an edge rusher, arguably the second most important position in the game.
Yeah.
Like you're trading for a better player at a better position with a better track record. Mm-hmm. And the other part of it is that he's not leaving for contract reasons. The Browns don't want to not pay him. They'd pay him forever.
And he
just doesn't want to be with a rotten organization.
May be a moot conversation anyway, because Cleveland just says we can't do it. We're not taking on $40 million in dead cap there with all the Deshaun Watson. We just cannot. We cannot.
And that's true. But that's not what this is about. I mean, this isn't necessarily about reality. This to me is about.
Vision.
Thank you. It gives you a sense of what you truly believe about this program and its future.
Yeah, and the other part of that, the Jackson Dart, is where I need these next couple months to really feel that situation out. I don't want to dodge and dart away from it right now, pun intended, but I need to feel him at the combine. Mm-hmm. I need to feel him through the interview process. He's got a bunch of flair. He's got a bunch of fun and charisma to him, but he's had some level of some inconsistency and immaturity, I think, that has come with some of that as well. So I'm not ready to do that yet. I don't think the skill set is that extraordinary either, that blows me away in a way that maybe a Penix would, or run like J.J. McCarthy can, or Caleb or Jaden, or those guys, that went at the top end of the draft last year. So that Dart one's going to be an evolving conversation.
866-979-3776. Go to Evan, who's hanging on in Puyallup. Good morning, Evan.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call.
You got it.
Mm-hmm.
So, out of the options given, I would go with option C. Myles Garrett is the proven commodity. You would, change the whole landscape of the team. But I would kind of go with, a different direction of none of the above and tank for Arch Manning would be my strategy. But with the three I got, it would be Myles Garrett for sure.
So how would you do all of that? Would you try to trade into next year's draft again and trade DK and trade Geno?
Yeah, I would try to see if Pete Carroll would take Geno off our hands. And then I would probably try to get rid of DK or somebody like that as well to try to get draft capital, because I believe that Arch Manning will probably come out into the draft next year. And I just like the class better. The only quarterback I really like in this class is Cam Ward, and I just don't really see that feasible right now.
Brock, how good is Arch going to be?
I would like to,
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate the
sorry,
opinion,
I was just
Evan.
jumping in to talk Arch with Brock, but I appreciate the call. Thank you very much. That's a really good phone call.
He's pretty physically mature. He's much more athletic than dad and uncle. Actually, his dad was a pretty good athlete, so I should say much more athletic than his two quarterback uncles that obviously were unbelievable NFL quarterbacks. He can run. He's got a great frame. I don't know if he throws it as well and as accurately as certainly Peyton and Eli did. That would be the continued area of growth. Mm-hmm. He's going to be surrounded with great people and a terrific system and should absolutely flourish next year. It might be a one and done as a starter, or very likely could go back to school for a fourth year, especially if he doesn't win a Heisman or get to the playoff or win playoff games, because, well, he's made a lot of money.
Played much, right?
Yeah, he started just a couple games this year for Quinn Ewers.
Crazy to think about.
And if you look at the track record of the Mannings, they're in no rush. Peyton was in no rush, went back to school. Eli was in no rush. And, oh, by the way, he's probably making tens of millions in NIL money there. that if the right situation isn't there, he's not looking to be a one-and-done kind of starter.
866-979-3776. Let me go to Chris in Wenatchee. Chris, how's the weather in Wenatchee? Do I want to come through Blewett today on my way to Winthrop, or do I want to avoid that?
Stay away today. Try tomorrow.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll take Vantage.
Yeah, he can't.
That's
really
okay. I can go to Vantage and then go up the back way. That's fine. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's good. I can tell you as a pilot as well, it's just going to get crappy all day long. So stay away from from here today.
Appreciate it.
So, hey, good morning, guys. I want to chat briefly about the Mariners. I know you said it's all Seahawks today, but
no, it's both. We're doing both.
Good. The comments that have been coming out of the management, DePoto and such, talking about how they still think that they got a good team, and we can all agree we disagree. We agree to disagree with how the winter's gone for the Mariners. But I would like to play devil's advocate a little bit and maybe give a little defense to DePoto and such as, we're not down there with JP and Polanco and Julio and watching these guys prepare for this year. And I would like to know maybe these guys, DePoto and such, and Dan Wilson, maybe they know a little more than we do on how the prep has looked for these guys. And we can all hope that the prep this year has been better than it was last year for JP and for Julio and things like that, because obviously it didn't bode well for our season last year. But I don't know, maybe you guys know a little more than I do on how the prep has been looking for those guys.
I have one small bit of information. I don't know whether you're going to put any stock into it, but I appreciate the call, Chris. I don't think there's anything wrong with putting this out there. I don't think he'd be upset about it. I did text yesterday with Julio's personal hitting coach, and the one word he used to describe Julio this year was more mature. I don't know what that means necessarily, and maybe we'll learn a little bit more about it. But age 24 this year, right? Kind of about the time when some of that maturing does start to occur for a ball player, for anybody, just a human being. That is, I think, a hope that we do see a little bit more of a mature Julio with a maybe more mature approach, a more mature relationship with his teammates, just more mature in general. And same smile, same joy, same talent, same athleticism. Certainly at 24, that's not going away anytime soon. But yeah, I think that is a reason for hope, a little bit more maturing for a young player like Julio.
Yeah, I think the challenge to that pilot's question there and trying to find and formulate a unique or legitimate or honest answer is baseball prep and the other sports prep are very different. So trying to gauge and measure that, okay, what kind of body fat, what kind of speed, what kind of power, how's his force plates, all of these things that, you can do in football, I think a whole lot easier. You can do in track, you can measure a golf swing, you can see, like a lot of these things, there's, I think, more tangible evidence. Is JP back at Driveline? Well, Driveline worked 2 years ago. Did Driveline not work last year? Like, I don't know. I mean, baseball is so finicky in that way. Is Julio going to be in terrific shape? Undoubtedly, yes. Do we really know about Polanco's knee, right? We know he had a procedure. We know that there was a physical as a part of this signing, that they were obviously comfortable with that. Will we really know until he gets out there and he's, in spring training? And can he go every day? Does he have to have a couple days off? Like, I think there's just too much unknown to try to really ascertain an answer to that prep question. Is that fair?
I think it's very fair. But maturity,
well, I think you know what I read into that? Then this is just totally speculation of me reading into that. You know what I read into that? I can look at my numbers, and they've been on the decline now for 3 years. I'm mature enough. I'm not making excuses. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm mature enough to look at I've had 3 bad starts to begin my career.
And I got to fix that.
And I got to fix it.
Yeah.
And I'm mature enough to go about the business of like, yep, I've got to get back to the level that I can play at. And I've not done that consistently for a couple years.
When I hear it, I don't get the sense that he's been immature. Just that he's 24 years old. The guy's mature. He's been in the league a few years. He's been around the block. He knows what's what. And I think the hope is that this is the year he really takes that leap and becomes the superstar he's supposed to be. 866-979-3776. Brandon is here in Seattle. Good morning, Brandon.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. I want the Seahawks to stay right there at 18 and try to start to fix the biggest problem for the team, offensive line. Myles Garrett, undoubtedly incredible. but he is going to make a part of our team better that wasn't a problem to begin with. It's a shiny new toy and it's exciting. And let's not take a potential bust quarterback at 18. Let's start fixing the biggest problem that the Seahawks face.
Can't you do both?
Upright.
Couldn't you trade for Myles Garrett and fix the offensive line? I mean, we were going through it. Somebody had sent in a note earlier, say, "Hey, how did the Eagles build it?" There was only one first-round pick. The only first-round pick is Lane Johnson, left tackle, right? And by the way, the Seahawks have a first-round pick in Charles Cross. After that, second-round picks, third-round picks, guys that they brought in free agency. I mean, I think it was, 2 seconds for Landon Dickerson and somebody else was also a second-round pick. Mm-hmm. And then Mekhi Becton they brought in after he flopped with the Jets. Mm-hmm. And then you got the center. It was not all first-round picks, but it was getting it right and using resources on it, not nothing. But you don't think you could...
Cam Jurgens, the center, that was also a second-round.
Correct.
Can't you do that with some second-round picks and still go get someone like Myles Garrett? You're right. He's not their biggest it's not a weakness for them right now, but you can't tell me that they had a dominant edge rushing situation like the Niners have and some of the other teams out there who've really dominated the game that way.
Mm-hmm. Certainly not. I would agree, but a first-round pick offensive line, probably a guard, is going to be a slam dunk. Most certainly, not guaranteed, but it's probably going to be a slam dunk. You go anywhere else with that, and it's not. Myles Garrett would be an upgrade, but the hit and miss rate on second, third round offensive linemen is still high. And these are guys that you could get, a guy you could get in the first round that likely would be here for 5, 6, 7 years and make a big difference. And
he wouldn't make as big a difference as Myles Garrett would. Mm-hmm. I really, truly believe that. No. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but he wouldn't make as big a difference as future Hall of Famer Myles Garrett in all likelihood. And if you had a chance to get Myles Garrett and then, take the chance in the second round.
Yeah, I think there's going to be depth there in this draft. Like, this is a draft, and you've heard that very clearly from DJ yesterday, meat and potatoes. And this is a meat and potatoes kind of need for the Seahawks. Looking at the Kansas City Chiefs, by the way, you looked at the O-line of Philly, one of the best in the league. I'd put Kansas City up there as well. Joe Thuney, third-round pick. Mm-hmm. Trey Smith, sixth-round pick. Creed Humphrey should be a Seahawk, second-round pick, right? So second, third, sixth, and, obviously you got to have tackles that you've invested in, and they've done that through the years, through trades or otherwise. But
that Dominic Pooney one's going to continue to bug me. Just a few picks.
He's good. I mean,
but he's a starter.
Yeah.
And your guy couldn't start over a seventh rounder. I mean, at the very least, he could have taken up one of those spots and allowed you to not need to get as much as you need right now. 866-979-3776. We'll try Chad in Maple Valley. What's up, Chad?
Hey, guys. How you doing? You just took sort of what I was going to say. But I think we need Garrett. He's the only one that's going to get us close to making it to the Super Bowl, if not the playoffs. And I would love to have him because a first-round pick on offensive lineman, I don't see us getting it close to the playoffs.
Yeah. It's a good point of that whole good to great, right? The Jim Collins book from years and years and years ago, Salk, and I don't remember the context for why we talked about that then, but man, it is a theme in our city right now. Mm-hmm. Go from good to great. We watched a team in the University of Washington do it, right? They flipped over their roster. They bring in a Michael Penix. They hired the right coach. You had the right supporting cast. You developed some of the players that were there, and you have one of the most historic seasons in the history of the school, 14 and whatever they were, 14-1. Like, unbelievable to get to the national title game. So we've seen it, but we got to see that and capture that at the professional level.
How good would the Seahawks defense be if you added Myles Garrett to it?
Yeah. That's a yes. I mean, I said to you yesterday, without Myles Garrett, you could be a top 5 defense.
Or what if you replace, what if in this scenario, you've got to imagine that you are replacing either Boye or Hall with him, and you're probably having to move on from
Dre or Jenna.
Yeah, maybe both, right? And so like your third option there, or at least one. How good is that defense?
Yeah. I mean, it's with Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy, and maybe you just don't know all that are going to be back and what goes into.
I got to imagine Ernest Jones kind of back in that scenario. Tyrese Knight's not going anywhere. Your secondary's all guys that are back.
Yep.
I mean, isn't that
scary, man?
Isn't
You're
that
a
an
problem.
elite defense?
I liked Sean Payton said this on the Kay Adams podcast about Denver, and it's the way you want to be. It's what Mike McDonald wrote in one of the last paragraphs to the season ticket holders. We're going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be a problem. We want people to not want to play us, right? That's some rarefied air. That's what you were in 12 and 13 and 14 and even stretching into 15. Like, you don't want to play these Seahawks then. Right. Because there's greatness all over that field.
And we're getting a bunch of people saying, well, Myles Garrett didn't mention the Seahawks, one of his preferred teams. So what? He's not a free agent.
Can I hear? Do we have
we do have a little from Myles Garrett. Here he is. Here is Myles Garrett saying what he's looking to do.
Someone who's in position to contend soon or right away. I could come in and still play my brand of football. I don't want to have to change up my game too much, and I don't think they'd want to as coaching and my teammates. I think we can try to elevate each other, and I can take someone over the hump.
All right, so he is talking there to Mina Kimes. He also talks about the quarterback position. She said, does that need to be set?
Absolutely. I mean, with any playoff team or any championship team, they're going to have a quarterback, a good quarterback, and you've seen some game managers go out there with a great defense and win it all. But if you want to consistently be at the top, you got to have a really good quarterback. That's hopefully where I'd find myself.
Okay, so would he like to go to Buffalo, Washington, Philadelphia? Yeah, yes, of course he would like to be in one of those places. Mm-hmm. But I keep hearing how Geno is thought of in, great ways. And
you heard the word hopefully there. He doesn't dictate that.
He just wants out of this awful situation in Cleveland.
That's right. And the team's going to dictate and get, the best return when that happens. And it will happen. He will hold out. He will do all he can. He's playing this game for real, and he's got the resources. Right? It's kind of like when you go into, do I really want to do this? Do I want to go into this lawsuit? Do I have enough resources? Or you go into holdout or a lockout and all the stuff that we have seen, like who's got the leverage? You got a lot of leverage on this thing, and he's gonna play it out. I don't hear either of those and eliminate Seattle. In fact, I think there's a great story to tell and would be told, and that is, what took us over the hump from 12 to 13.
Yeah, Michael Bennett.
We brought in two
Cliff
guys,
Averill.
a guy named Averill and Bennett, and those
point.
two took a good defense into an elite defense, and that defense with a run game took us all the way to a Super Bowl championship and nearly two. So I think this is not a moribund program. This is not an organization and a brand thought poorly of around the league.
Floundering.
Look at Ernest Jones. Look at Leonard Williams. Look at guys that all, Seahawks that have left that want to finish and want to come back because they treat you the right way.
I don't think it's fair to say. I think if Myles Garrett was a free agent, I think we'd be having a different conversation.
Sure.
I don't know that the Seahawks would be able to win a battle right now for Myles Garrett free agent. I don't think they'd be able to compete with Washington.
Yep.
I don't think who was the other team that got mentioned a lot?
I think Dallas is in the mix as a Texas guy to go back
all right,
to the
maybe.
state of Texas.
I think they got a better story to tell, certainly, than they do in
the dysfunction of that
Dallas.
place.
But look, I think Seattle probably isn't on the list for a
free agency.
But they've got more to offer than Washington does in a trade.
Yep. And
if they and Washington both go at it in a trade, you've got a better pick, and you've got two young defensive end linebacker types, that one of which could be a pretty good fit to fill in and backfill for Myles Garrett.
Yep.
I think you do have an interesting shot in a trade scenario. And again, I am looking for stars, Brock. I am looking for greatness.
Well, the caller said it a couple minutes ago, and that is, how do you get from good to great?
Take a chance.
And this is a guy that for the next 3-4 years should be one of the most dominant players in the NFL.
It is interesting. I think if Mariner fans heard Seahawks fans saying that they didn't want a star like Myles Garrett, they'd throw up in their mouth. Right? I mean, it's just they're like, wait, what? Why? What? You don't want this? Again, I would understand if Myles Garrett, and I know we got some more people hanging on. We're probably not going to get to more calls. Hey, I'm sorry. I just want to finish this up here and get out on time.
Focus in on this track.
And I got to really pay some attention.
Really torn.
This isn't a safety. This isn't a wide receiver. This isn't a tight end who catches. This is a guy who plays on the line of scrimmage and wrecks everything the offense is trying to do. And he's in the prime of his career and he's one of the best players in football at a premier position. And he's weirdly available because somehow the Browns have managed to screw it up so badly, not because they don't want to pay him, but because he hates them. That's a unique opportunity. And if there's and if you really believe that you can win with Geno, you owe it to yourself to do this.
Mm-hmm.
You owe it to yourself to do this.
For a baseball comp, this would be your Aaron Judge. This would be your 3 or 4 hitter that makes that kind of impact every single game.
Yeah, except instead of coming up with the Yankees, he's come up with the Marlins and can't wait to get out of there. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, that's the scenario that you're talking about. So, All right, we got to get going. I am going to be out tomorrow. I'm sorry. I'll just tell you now, but it's because I'm going to my daughter's outdoor hockey tournament in Winthrop. It's going to be awesome. I know there's some other listeners that are going to be there. Come say hi. I'll be bundled up. Going to have hand
Salk
warmers.
Loves the cold. Salk loves,
foot warmers.
Lefko and I are in. We'll be in, and G and I are already planning on how we're going to make it so
poor
uncomfortable.
Lefko. You guys are going to make him miserable.
An uncomfortable conversation with G.
It's just not right. Okay, catch you guys Monday after the Super Bowl. Brock will be in tomorrow. Of course, 6 a.m. Everything gets going. Bump and Stacy are up next. And guess where the hay is?
Barn.
Oh, it's in the barn. See you, everybody.
Capital B, barn.
Get to the chopper!
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy.
Joining us right now in studio, it's Mariners GM Justin Hollander.
Our goal is to get better every day. Our goal is to win the division. Our goal is to make the playoffs. 85 wins and not making the playoffs is a disappointing season. That's not what we're aiming for. We're aiming for division titles, for playoff series wins, for World Series wins. We need to play better than we did last year, more consistently over 6 months, and that will lead us to our goals.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Global superstar, The Weeknd, presents a never-before-seen all-new show, After Hours Till Dawn Stadium Tour. Live in Seattle, performing songs from the brand new album, Hurry Up Tomorrow, and all the hits. With Playboy Cardi and special guest Mike Dean, Lumen Field, Saturday, July 12th. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at theweekend.com/tour.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-5